Pain, a heart-wrenching pain. Chen Feng lay in a pool of blood, the knife lodged in his chest, having completely robbed him of any ability to move. He never imagined that his own wife would stab him while he slept. Brother, how kill this waste and take his spatial ability? Then our family of 3 can stand on our own and never depend on this useless man again. As Su Qing finished speaking, Wang Hao twisted the knife handle, causing Chen Feng's eyes to bulge with agony. Watching their intimate posture, he struggled several times, but could not rise. Why? Was I not good enough to you? You conspired to kill me. Wang Hao sneered, looking down at him with contempt. Chen Feng, still not getting it. Xiao Ming is my child with your wife. Over these 2 years, thanks to you for taking care of mother and son. Boom. These words struck Chen Feng like a thunderbolt. After the apocalypse, descended resources were already extremely scarce, yet he had struggled desperately to keep this family going for so long. Wang Hao had been his brother before the apocalypse. They had a good relationship, but lost contact after the calamity. 3 months ago, Wang Hao was abandoned in a snowy wasteland about to be cannibalized when Chen Feng happened upon him. Facing this former brother, even knowing resources were scarce, Chen Feng unhesitatingly saved him. Yet in the end, the man wanted to kill him. He had misjudged. He had saved a wolf. Brother's betrayal, wife's adultery, and the child he raised for 2.5 years was not his own. He was filled with hatred. If I could have another chance, I would never let you go. Haha, say that to the king of hell. Wang Hao sneered, yanked out the knife, and blood gushed out. Chen Feng felt a bone-deep pain, his vision growing blurry. You filthy pair will haunt you even as a ghost. Perhaps from blood loss, he felt dizzy and nauseous, then jolted awake. Struggling to raise his head, he saw tall buildings and blue sky outside the floor-to-ceiling window. What's going on? Didn't I die? He looked around in confusion. The surroundings were strangely familiar. Office desk, sofa, and a secretary in black stockings with a hot, sexy figure. This is my old company's office. The warm air outside hit him, making him shiver. After the apocalypse, the world was covered in ice and snow. Low temperatures shrouded everything. How could there be such warm weather? Manager Chen, what's wrong? Zhao Huan put down her documents, her beautiful eyes full of puzzlement. Nothing. You may leave first. Chen Feng suppressed his shock. After Zhao Huan left, he hurriedly took out his phone to check the time. August 1st, 2080. I've been reborn back to half a month before the apocalypse. Half a month later, on August 15th, 20. On that day in the height of summer, a global snowstorm suddenly fell. It lasted half a year, plunging the entire Earth into an ice age. Within just half a year, 90% of Earth's creatures perished in the extreme cold. Countless people died in this disaster. Extreme cold plus resource scarcity directly reduced the global population. In 2 years, the 10 billion people dwindled to just 800 million. In such harsh conditions, all edible things vanished. The last resort was human flesh. All rules, laws, and order collapsed. People would do anything to fill their bellies. If Chen Feng hadn't awakened his spatial ability in this environment, he couldn't have protected his family. Not only did none of them die, but even Qin Xiaoming was well-fed and chubby. Damn, what irony. The son he raised for 2.5 years was someone else's. According to the timeline, Su Qing is already pregnant with Wang Hao's child. A fierce light burst from Chen Feng's pupils. Since fate gave him a second chance, he would never let Su Qing and Wang Hao get away with it. Just wait, it'll make your life worse than death. Moi. Suddenly a flash of light struck Chen Feng's. Is this the space I awakened before? He waved his hand in disbelief, and the cup on the desk vanished instantly. With a thought, the cup reappeared, the hot water unchanged. Great. With this space, I can stockpile enough supplies and live freely after the apocalypse. Chen Feng was overjoyed. In the second year of the apocalypse, a huge meteor crashed to Earth carrying a virus that mutated countless people, many of whom awakened abilities. Chen Feng was one of them, awakening spatial ability. Unfortunately, in his previous life, supplies had already been looted by survivors, leaving nothing to store. This time he would seize the opportunity. In the apocalypse, even a single pack of instant noodles could make people risk their lives. A sausage could make a woman undress for you. In a resource-starved world, human life was worthless, let alone dignity. Control over supplies meant absolute advantage. Of course, besides supplies, weapons were necessary. When all order collapses, the one with weapons holds the power. As the saying goes, neighbors stock food, I stock guns, my neighbor is my granary. In just a few minutes, he had arranged the main tasks for the next half month. 1. Stockpile supplies, the top priority for survival quality. 2. Revenge. He would not let Su Qing, Wang Hao, or anyone who hurt him off. But first he had to break ties with that bitch Su Qing. You want to be with Wang Hao? Fine, I'll let you. Chen Feng called his secretary to arrange leave. Stockpiling required money, lots of money. But that didn't stump Chen Feng. Since the apocalypse was coming, he would turn all assets into cash and supplies. With a plan, Chen Feng rushed home. As soon as he entered, he heard voices from the bedroom. Brother, how if Chen Feng finds out I'm pregnant with your child, it'll be trouble. How could that loser find out? Just serve him well tonight. and let him raise my child for me. Brother, how you're quick while that waste is at work, let me have some fun. Though he already knew of their affair, hearing it firsthand still made Chen Feng tremble with fury. By the way, find a way to get more money from that cuckold. I want to buy a sports car and take you for a drive. Sure, whatever. Chen Feng trembled, unable to contain his rage any longer. He kicked the door open. You filthy pair, you've got quite the plan, haven't you? Suddenly a loud noise startled the couple who were still being intimate. Brother Feng, aren't you supposed to be at work? Wang Hao hurriedly dressed while nervously looking at Chen Feng, obviously not expecting him to return at this hour. If I hadn't come back, I wouldn't have witnessed such a spectacular scene. Chen Feng glared at the pair with fury. He had treated Wang Hao like a brother and taken meticulous care of Su Qing, not even allowing her to work outside. But in the end, what did he get? He worked himself to the bone outside, while she not only kept a man at home, but also used his money to buy a sports car for another. In his past life at this time, Su Qing had already used the excuse of needing money for the family to ask Chen Feng for cash. Blinded by love, Chen Feng exhausted every means, even resorting to loan sharks to scrape together 1.5 million. Yet no sooner had he given the money to Su Qing than Wang Hao went and bought a sports car. As for Su Qing, she instead scolded him for being useless. A sincere heart was not even worth feeding to dogs. Honey, don't misunderstand. Wang Hao only came to help me find something. Smack. Without a second thought, Chen Feng slapped Su Qing across the face. You worthless piece of trash, how dare you hit me? Never having suffered such humiliation, Su Qing immediately started cursing. I just brought a man home. What did I do wrong? How dare you hit me? Brother Feng, hitting your wife is your fault. Wang Hao said with a straight face, not feeling the slightest guilt for what he had done, instead blaming Chen Feng. Chen Feng watched the two hypocrites play their duet, clenching his fists tightly, trembling with rage. He wished he could kill these two enemies on the spot. But the apocalypse had not yet come and the law still held. He had to endure. Divorce. Bring your marriage certificate. Well, meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Chen Feng's cold words startled Wang Hao and Su Qing on the spot. Wang Hao thought, I haven't even bought the sports car yet. If you divorce now, what about my car? Su Qing, on the other hand, had no intention of letting go of Chen Feng her meal ticket. Honey, don't be impulsive. I have good news, I'm pregnant. It's your child. Su Qing tried to use the child to hold onto Chen Feng. In his past life, it had worked. Back then, after Su Qing claimed she was pregnant, Chen Feng became completely obedient to her. When she asked for 1.5 million, he didn't hesitate to borrow from loan sharks. Humph, don't think I don't know whose bastard you're carrying. You think you can trick me into raising another man's child? Chen Feng looked at Su Qing with contempt. If you don't want the video of you cheating with him to spread through the family group and the neighborhood, then come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. He didn't actually have a video, but it was enough to scare them. Sure enough, hearing this, Su Qing gave up resistance and went to fetch the marriage certificate. Chen Feng had anticipated this. Su Qing was a typical hypocrite, acting both promiscuous and virtuous. She could cheat without a second thought, yet she was extremely concerned about face. Fine, we can divorce, but the house belongs to me. It's compensation for my youth, I deserve it. Su Qing looked at Chen Feng as if it were her due. The house was bought by Chen Feng before marriage, a premarital asset that had nothing to do with Su Qing by right. But Chen Feng didn't want to drag it out any longer, so he agreed immediately. He was pressed for time. He had originally planned to cash out on this house anyway. Since Su Qing wanted to fight for it, he would let her have it. He already had a way to cash out. Under the condition that Chen Feng left without any assets, the divorce was finalized within half an hour. When Su Qing returned home, Wang Hao hurried over. You actually divorced him? Su Qing nodded. He left with nothing just to get divorced. I couldn't stop him. No, you can't be divorced. Where will I get the money for my sports car? Who's going to support our child? Qing, you have to find a way to remarry him, understand? Su Qing felt very upset at Wang Hao's words, but couldn't argue. Chen Feng was indeed her best option. He handed over his monthly salary of over 500, and he was completely obedient. Su Qing, although confident in her looks and figure, didn't think she could attract those top-tier rich scions. Besides, those rich scions were notorious for being fickle, constantly changing women. Even if she managed to hook one, how long could she stay by his side? He's just angry now. When he cools down, if you sweeten your attitude and give him some benefits, hell come crawling back like, enough, I'm tired. Su Qing went back to her room in displeasure. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, Chen Feng went directly to the loan sharks. In his past life, he had borrowed money to buy Wang Hao a sports car. This time, it was for himself. The house is at Jade Belt Dragon Court, 180 square meters. I need 5 million in cash to be repaid with interest in 13 days. Chen Feng sat on a chair and handed over the property deed. He had no intention of repaying the money. They could just take the house directly. He deliberately chose 13 days to give the loan sharks 1 day to collect the debt, just the right time for that bitch Su Qing to taste being kicked out of her home. The property deed is here. If I don't repay in 13 days, the house is yours. Hearing Chen Feng's words, the loan shark boss was stunned. and quickly sent his underlings to verify the deed. Once verified, the boss became ecstatic. Jade Belt Dragon Court was a famous wealthy neighborhood, and Chen Feng's unit could fetch at least 6 million even at a loss. This was like handing money straight into his mouth. Mr. Chen, the money has been transferred to your account. Pleasure doing business. Pleasure doing business. Thinking about what Su Qing would face when the 13 days were up, he felt greatly relieved. 5 million in cash was far from enough. That amount could only stockpile daily necessities at best. Now he not only needed food, water generators, diesel, and fuel, but also various weapons and vehicles capable of traveling through snow. More importantly, he needed a safe house that could withstand extreme cold. 5 million wasn't even enough to make, but he didn't care at all. He had plenty of ways to make money. At the antique street, there was a porcelain piece worth 200 million waiting for him to snatch up as a bargain. In his past life, he had picked up a blue and white porcelain at the antique street priceless. Unfortunately, by then the apocalypse had already descended and money and antiques became worth less than dog shit. It was already dark. Chen Feng took a car to the most luxurious restaurant in town. He would leave the bargain hunting for tomorrow. You useless piece of trash. Instead of taking care of my sister at home, you come here to enjoy yourself alone. Looking for a beating, are you? As soon as he sat down, a figure approached Chen Feng, grabbing him by the collar with a hostile expression and demanding. This man, named Su Jiqiang, was Su Qing's younger brother. After graduation, he remained jobless, loafing around all day with no intention of finding proper work. Due to Su Qing's parents' deeply ingrained preference for sons over daughters, Su Jiqiang was utterly spoiled. Whenever he needed money, he would turn to his family. And since Su Qing's household had no funds, they naturally extended their reach to Chen Feng. It was no exaggeration to say that Su Qing's entire family was draining Chen Feng dry. Beside Su Jiqiang stood a woman in black stockings and high heels with a face that scored a mere 70 out of 100. Her name was Zhao Qian, Su Jiqiang's girlfriend, and an exceedingly materialistic woman. This pair had also bullied Chen Feng relentlessly. Recently, Su Jiqiang was preparing to marry Zhao Qian and needed a betrothal gift of 500,000. They naturally assumed that Chen Feng should foot the bill. In his past life, Chen Feng had played the fool. But now let whoever wanted to be the fool take that role. With all this money he had, wouldn't it be better spent on food and drink? Yet facing the arrogant Su Jiqiang, Chen Feng still suppressed the fury in his heart and forced a smile. I came here to handle some business, never expected to run into you two. What a coincidence. Seeing Chen Feng smile, Su Jiqiang felt quite pleased. His sister had truly trained this pathetic fool well. Don't you dare grin at me. You'd better pay for our meal today. With that, he led Zhao Qian straight to a seat and began ordering. As for this spineless brother-in-law, Zhao Qian could barely be bothered to spare him a glance. So pathetic, getting grabbed by the collar without daring to show a hint of temper. He wasn't a man at all. Zhao Qian crossed her legs and started putting on airs, flipping through the menu. Honey, this steak is 688 per serving. Can I order it? Su Jiqiang nodded without a second thought. Order whatever you like. We're not short on cash. Get 2 servings. After his bold declaration, Su Jiqiang couldn't help but inwardly lament the steep price. He had only brought 2,000 with him today, thinking it would be enough for a meal. Now the steak alone had nearly emptied his wallet. But luckily they had run into Chen Feng. He could just let him pay today's bill. Watching the scene unfold, Chen Feng couldn't help but smirk. Go ahead and show off. You'll be crying soon enough. In no time, Su Jiqiang, in his bid to impress, had ordered nearly 5,000 in dishes, gradually losing himself in Zhao Qian's repeated coups of honey. Seeing him preen, Chen Feng decided to fan the flames. Jiqiang, how can you have steak without red wine? Without it, the meal has no soul. Who asked for your 2 cents? Su Jiqiang shot Chen Feng an impatient glare. Of course I know we knew, but when he flipped through the wine list, he couldn't help but gasp. The cheapest bottle was 19,000. Yet seeing Zhao Qian's eager gaze, he ordered a bottle anyway. What did it matter? He wasn't the one paying. Honey, I love you to death. Gazing at the table laden with dishes, Zhao Qian was thoroughly satisfied. She whipped out her phone and snapped a flurry of pictures. Though she usually lived a refined life, it was all a facade. Every piece on her was a knockoff. Where else could she enjoy such extravagance with Su Jiqiang? She knew he had no job, but so what? As long as he could produce the cash. Zhao Qian's gaze drifted to Chen Feng at the neighboring table. Seeing him wolfing down his food with utter disregard for appearances, she was filled with disdain. He had a handsome face, but his manners. What difference was there between him and a country bumpkin? In truth, Chen Feng couldn't be blamed. It had been 2 years since he had tasted anything this good. In the post-apocalyptic world of scarcity, he had even eaten cockroaches since their protein content was 7 times that of beef. Honey, my parents want a 50,000 betrothal gift. Have you prepared it yet? Midway through the meal, Zhao Qian suddenly asked, her eyes filled with anticipation as she looked at Su Jiqiang. Don't worry, it's all set. Su Jiqiang smirked smugly, his gaze shifting to Chen Feng, who had already finished eating. Brother-in-law, make sure to transfer the betrothal money to my card by noon tomorrow. I'm going to propose. Su Jiqiang's tone was firm and brooked no argument, as if he were instructing someone on a matter of course. Betrothal gift. Whose betrothal gift? Chen Feng wiped his mouth looking at the pair with a sardonic smile. Still treating me like an ATM. What do you mean whose? Mine obviously. Didn't you hear I'm going to propose? Have you been kicked in the head by a donkey? If you're proposing, you pay the betrothal gift yourself. What's that got to do? Chen Feng shed his usual cowardly demeanor, his voice low with amusement. We're not even related. It's not like I'm sleeping with your wife. Why should I pay your betrothal gift? Su Jiqiang's eyes widened in disbelief. He had never expected Chen Feng to speak to him like that. But he quickly recovered and swung his fist at Chen Feng. You useless piece of trash, you need a beating, don't you? But before he could even reach Chen Feng, he was sent flying back with a single kick. How dare you hit me? You worthless fool, do you believe I'll make my sister divorce you right now? Su Jiqiang clutched his stomach, howling in pain, while Zhao Qian stood beside him in shock, unsure of what to do. Divorce? Chen Feng sneered, pulling out a divorce certificate and waving it. Don't threaten me with that. I've already divorced your sister. You want money from me? Dream on. Su Jiqiang stared in disbelief. How could this pathetic fool have divorced his sister? Wasn't he her loyal lapdog? But the divorce certificate was right before his eyes, forcing him to accept the truth. The commotion drew the attention of the manager, who rushed over with security. You three, this is no place for a brawl. Quick, this man attacked me. Get rid of him, or he'll file a complaint. Su Jiqiang hurriedly appealed, wailing at the manager. Sir, causing trouble in our Bright Moon restaurant requires an explanation. The manager's face darkened. Starting a fight here was like smashing his own rice bowl and slapping his own face. Hey, race the thing. I have a business deal to discuss with you. Can you make the call? Chen Feng ignored the manager's words and asked directly. This isn't the time for business. I want to book 100 tables of a banquet at 10,000 per table. If you can handle it, I'll pay half the deposit right now. Holy shit. 10,000 per table, 100 tables meant $1 million and an immediate payment of 500,000. Such a big deal came by only a few times a year. The manager was stunned. This wasn't a troublemaker. This was his own personal god of wealth. Can we talk business? Chen Feng's eyes fixed on the manager. Of course, absolutely. He'll arrange it right away. The manager, ecstatic, fawned over him. He immediately fetched a pen and paper. After signing the contract, Chen Feng didn't hesitate and transferred 500,000 on the spot. Zhao Qian, right? Chen Feng turned his gaze to Zhao Qian, grinning slyly. This kid hasn't got a penny to his name. He can't give you the life you want. How about considering marrying me instead? They'll give you $1 million as a betrothal gift. Zhao Qian was taken aback by his words, her heart fluttering like a startled deer. Chen Feng's generosity was simply too extravagant. He had directly ordered a 1 million yuan banquet. Being able to spend $1 million on a meal meant his assets undoubtedly far exceeded that sum. Moreover, Chen Feng was far more handsome than Su Jiqiang. The fact that he was willing to offer $1 million as a bride price made her even more ecstatic. Let me know when you've made up your mind. I'm a man of responsibility. Chen Feng made a phone gesture at Zhao Qian, then turned and walked away with effortless grace. You bastard, are you asking for trouble? He'll cripple you. Enraged, Su Jiqiang lunged at Chen Feng, only to be stopped by the manager. Get out of my way, or he'll file a complaint against you. I'm sorry, sir. Your total for today is 25100 yuan. Will you be paying by card or step aside? Absolutely not. Chen Feng was his esteemed guest. Never before had he encountered such a generous spender. How could he allow him to be harmed? Let him pay. He's my brother-in-law. Do you realize the consequences of stopping me? The manager gave Su Jiqiang a look of utter disdain. Such shamelessness was a first. You don't even treat him as a person, yet you expect him to foot your bill. You two daring to dine and dash at Bright Moon restaurant. Who gave you the nerve? With a wave from the manager, several security guards surrounded them, their faces fierce and menacing. Zhao Qian, unaccustomed to such a scene, was terrified and tugged at Su Jiqiang in panic. Pay up now? What are you standing there for? I don't have that much money. Su Jiqiang was on the verge of tears. He had about 2,000 on him, far from enough. No money. Damn it, ordering such expensive dishes without funds. You think we're pushovers? Break his legs. I have money, I have money. Wait, let me make a call. Terrified, Su Jiqiang pulled out his phone and called Su Qing. Upon learning that her brother had spent over 20,000 on a single meal, Su Qing was furious. But he was still her brother, so she refrained from saying much. Scraping together money from various sources, she finally managed to bail Su Jiqiang out. What on earth happened? Spending so much on a meal? My money doesn't grow on trees. The moment she returned home, Su Qing couldn't help but reproach Su Jiqiang. Over the years, she had never developed a habit of saving. Now that her personal ATM had divorced her, she had hardly any money left. If Su Jiqiang kept squandering like this, disaster was inevitable. It's all that loser Chen Feng's fault. Su Jiqiang's eyes burned with resentment. Sis, even if you divorced that waste, why did you give him so much money? That money would have been enough for my bride price. Su Qing frowned, clearly confused by his words. Chen Feng left with nothing. Where would he get money? What? Upon hearing this, Su Jiqiang leaped off the sofa. Sis, are you telling me that loser left with nothing? You're not joking, are you? Su Qing handed him the contract. When Su Jiqiang saw the clause about asset division, he grew even more agitated. Sis, that bastard tricked you. He's been hiding a fortune. Call him and demand the money back. It's all ours. Seeing his excitement, Su Qing grew more puzzled. Hiding money? How much could he have? Over the years, Chen Feng's salary card had been in her hands. She only gave him 200 a month. There was no way he could have saved much. Sis, that loser ordered 100 tables at Bright Moon Restaurant today. A full million. He's been playing us all along. I bet he has at least a few million in cash. Su Qing gasped, stunned. Are you serious? Of course. I saw it with my own eyes. Call him now. No matter what, we have to get that money back. All right, I'll call right away. Inside the imperial suite of a 5-star hotel, Chen Feng was on the phone frantically booking banquets at various restaurants. When the apocalypse came, getting a cooked meal would be no easy task, let alone one that was delicious and of high. He had to stock up on freshly prepared dishes from these chefs while he still could. Inside his space, everything was frozen in time. Hot water placed there would remain hot no matter when taken out. As for poultry, fish, meat, and other necessities, Chen Feng planned a zero-cost acquisition on the night of the 14th. Though he had many ways to make money, he still needed to save where possible. Money had to be spent wisely. Steak, foie gras, roasted duck. Bring it on. The phone rang. Seeing Su Qing's name on the screen, Chen Feng hung up without a second thought. He could easily guess why she was calling. Su Jiqiang must have told her about the banquet, and now she was after his money. To Su Qing, he was nothing more than an ATM. When she called again shortly after, Chen Feng immediately blocked. Keeping her on the line would only slow down his ordering. After calling around to nearby restaurants, Chen Feng turned his attention to delivery services. Barbecue spicy hot pot bullfrog with fish head. He ordered everything he could. It wasn't until late at night, when most businesses had closed, that Chen Feng finally slowed down. In just half a night, he had spent another 2 million or so. Damn, spending money feels incredible. Chen Feng indulged himself thoroughly. In his past life, though he earned 50,000 a month, he handed it all over to that bitch Su Qing. Others lived lavishly while he scraped by on a few hundred in pocket money, poor as a dog. This reckless spending was a first for him. There was still much to spend on. Housing and renovations, which were the most. Creating a shelter capable of withstanding extreme cold would allow him to live comfortably after the apocalypse. Around 10 the next morning, Chen Feng went to the antique street. Following his past life memories, he found the antique and sold it directly for 200 million. The piece was worth over 250 million, and an auction would have fetched even more, but he needed quick cash. The antique had only a 2-week shelf life. After that it would become worthless junk. Once the funds arrived, Chen Feng headed straight to the Jade Dragon Court sales office. This was the neighborhood where Su Qing's family now lived. Choosing a house here would make revenge more convenient. After all, when the world was buried in snow, being in another district would make it harder to deal with his ex-wife's family. Chen Feng, what are you doing here? As soon as Chen Feng stepped into the sales office, Zhao Qian came clicking toward him in high heels, her face bright with surprise. Last night, Chen Feng left an exceptionally profound impression on Zhao Qian. Even if it was just showing off, being able to pull out 1 million to reserve a banquet was no ordinary feat. Far more promising than that Su Jiqiang, who couldn't even afford a meal. She had been fretting over not having Chen Feng's contact information, never expecting he would seek her out today. Chen Feng was taken aback by Zhao Qian's excitement, but quickly recollected. Zhao Qian was the salesperson at this property office. I'm here to look at some houses. Bring me the details for Villa No. 3. Chen Feng said with a slight smirk. What? You want to buy Villa No. 3? Zhao Qian gasped in shock, staring at Chen Feng in disbelief. After all, Villa No. 3 was worth 100 million. Only the ultra-wealthy could afford a villa in Yudai Longting. What? Is the villa already taken? No, we'll get the documents right away. Zhao Qian scurried off to fetch the materials, leaving the other salespeople green with envy. 100 million villa, even with a low commission rate, would net nearly 1 million. Money they couldn't earn in house. Zhao Qian was swift. When she returned with the documents, she had undergone a noticeable transformation. Her heels were swapped for Valentino, her stockings accentuated long legs, her professional skirt replaced with a very short body-hugging one, and even the neckline of her blouse was deliberately lowered, revealing an alluring view of her chest. This was a classic outfit to boost attack speed. Chen Feng sighed deeply. In his past life, she had been with Su Jiqiang, treating him like a worthless fool without a second glance. Now, she practically clung to him while presenting the property. Qian, I'm quite satisfied with the house, but I need to test the soundproofing and the bed shock absorption. How about we try it out? Chen Feng unhesitatingly took Zhao Qian's hand, making her blush deeply. Oh, you. Can't you say these things in private? Disgusting. Before Zhao Qian could respond, a scornful voice came from the side. Chen Feng looked up, and was instantly captivated. The woman had an incredibly alluring figure, her dress accentuating every curve, and her long legs could drive anyone wild. And that face, so stunningly beautiful that it was impossible to look away. She was undoubtedly a top-tier goddess, scoring a 97 in Chen Feng's book. Lin Fei. Fragments of his past life flashed through his mind, and Chen Feng instantly recognized her. She was a minor celebrity known for her striking looks and acting skills, having made a name in the industry. Given her trajectory, she was bound to become a huge star. Unfortunately, the apocalypse came, and in that world where humanity was lost, beautiful women fared poorly, especially goddess-level ones like Lin Fei. In his past life, a group of men broke into her home, and she was never heard from again. Her fate was easy to guess. Beautiful lady, we'll be neighbors. If you run out of food, just come to me. I'll give you some sausages. Chen Feng said with a grin. Pervert. Lin Fei snorted, blushing as she quickly left. Chen Feng was speechless. Why was kindness met with ingratitude? Zhao Qian watched him nervously. Chen Feng, do you know her? No, he replied. Zhao Qian breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Fei was just too beautiful, competing with her was hopeless. Come on, let's check out the house. If it's suitable, I'll pay today. Zhao Qian eagerly led Chen Feng to. Shortly after they left, Su Jiqiang arrived at the sales office. Not finding Zhao Qian, he asked, Sister Zhang, have you seen Qianqian? Xiao Su Qianqian is showing a client the villa. Wait a bit. Sister Zhang gave him a knowing look as if he were a fool. Xiao Su Qianqian hit the jackpot this time. If she sells that villa, her commission will be nearly $1 million. A female saleswoman barely suppressed a grin. You'd better treat our Qianqian well. There's no one else as capable as her here. Don't worry, I will. Su Jiqiang felt a surge of excitement, but also confusion. Why did their words sound so strange? Capable. Zhao Qian's work performance was average. Oh, what was so capable about her? After waiting half an hour, Su Jiqiang grew impatient and headed to the break room to ask. Before he could knock, he heard mocking chatter inside. This Su Jiqiang, such a simp. He'll end up with nothing. No kidding. That's a top-tier tycoon, and Su Jiqiang doesn't even have a job. How can he compete for a... The saleswomen gossiped, their tones tinged with envy and jealousy. Don't say that. Qianqian isn't that kind of person, a younger saleswoman muttered. Think again. If she weren't, would she dress so slutty? Did you see how low her neckline was? That tycoon said outright he wanted to test the bed's shock absorption. They're probably rolling in the sheets right now. And with $1 million commission, even if he's just playing around, she'd have no reason to refuse. Su Jiqiang is nothing. No skills, no looks. A saleswoman sighed. If it were her, she'd spread her legs without hesitation. Too bad she didn't have the Damn, so that's what you meant by capable. Su Jiqiang, unable to hold back, kicked open the break room door, startling the saleswomen. Xiaosu, you scared us. Why kick the door? Where's that bitch? Villain, no. Free. Xiaosu, don't do anything rash. Qianqian isn't what you think. They tried to dissuade him, but Su Jiqiang, blinded by rage, stormed off toward Villain, no. Free. How dare he steal my woman? He's asking for it. Fuming, Su Jiqiang arrived at the villa and saw a sight that infuriated him. Chen Feng was helping Zhao Qian out of the villa, their postures intimate. You worthless piece of trash, daring to mess with me. He'll cripple you. Without a second thought, Su Jiqiang clenched his fist and swung at Chen Feng. Watching Su Jiqiang suddenly lunge at him, Chen Feng showed no mercy and kicked him away without hesitation. In the past, Chen Feng might not have been a match for Su Jiqiang, but now he was a man who had endured 2.5 years in the harsh environment of the apocalypse. In that resource-scarce setting, he had even managed to support his entire family. In terms of combat prowess, Su Jiqiang's were unworthy of tying his shoes. Satisfied. After knocking the man to the ground with a kick, Chen Feng couldn't resist adding a slap. In his past life, he had been bullied relentlessly by that family, suffering in silent humiliation. Now he finally had a chance for revenge. You? How dare you hit me? I'll fight you. Su Jiqiang, unwilling to back down, tried to rise and strike again, but Zhao Qian stopped him. Su Jiqiang, haven't you caused enough trouble? Zhao Qian's face was full of displeasure. Her good mood had... More importantly, she worried that Su Jiqiang's antics might make Chen Feng back out of buying the house, which would be a devastating loss. Qianqian, he hit me, and you're still defending him. Su Jiqiang couldn't believe it. In such a short time, his girlfriend had taken someone else's side. So what if he hit you? You deserved it. If you hadn't started it, Chen Feng wouldn't have fought back. After saying this, Zhao Qian nervously approached Chen Feng. Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry. He'll make sure to discipline him properly when we get back. Chen Feng waved dismissively. I don't consider someone like him worth my attention. These words only fueled Su Jiqiang's anger. He never expected this loser to become so arrogant. Just as he was about to explode, Zhao Qian pulled him aside again. Mr. Chen, about the house. Well, I wasn't too keen on this villa initially, but since your service is so good, I've decided to go ahead. Let's sign the contract. Chen Feng glanced meaningfully at Su Jiqiang. Su Jiqiang understood. Chen Feng was the wealthy client the salespeople had mentioned, the one buying the villa and taking his girlfriend. Damn it, do you really think I'm that easy to push around? Enough. How much longer will you keep making a scene? You can't hold a job, and now you want me to lose mine too. Zhao Qian's harsh rebuke left Su Jiqiang speechless. Chen Feng watched with amusement as his former adversaries turned on each other, feeling immense satisfaction. What a pity the apocalypse was still half a month away, otherwise he would have taught them a proper lesson. A beating was far too lenient. I want to renovate immediately. Any problem? No problem at all. Once you've paid the down payment and signed the contract, the house is yours. You can do whatever you wish with it. But this villa is already decorated. Are you sure you want to spend more on renovations? Yes, there are a few areas I'm not satisfied with. I need to redo them. In an instant, Chen Feng's status as a wealthy man soared in Zhao Qian's eyes. How extravagant. Signing the contract and making the payment didn't take long. 2 hours later, Chen Feng had the keys in hand. The seamless, unhurried speed of payment left Su Jiqiang stunned. That loser had actually bought a villa. He had more than just a few million. The villa was worth 100 million. Even if Chen Feng had only paid a 20 million down payment, it was clear he had plenty more in his pocket. All right, I have things to do. You've had your workout today, so go home and rest. I'll call you when I need you, Chen Feng said, casting a provocative glance at Su Jiqiang before turning to leave. By workout, he meant the literal kind. During the house viewing, he had been anything but idle, running all over the villa. Zhao Qian was exhausted and had even taken a fall. By workout, he meant the literal kind. During the house viewing, he had been anything but idle, running all over the villa. Zhao Qian, did you really sleep with that loser? Su Jiqiang fumed. Haven't you caused enough trouble? Chen Feng isn't as disgusting as you think. If you keep this up, he'll get angry. Damn, in such a short time you're already taking his side. Su Jiqiang was furious. If you didn't sleep with him, why can't you even walk properly? I fell. If it weren't for Chen Feng today, I'd have been hurt even worse. Look at you. Instead of thanking him, you're causing a huge scene. Zhao Qian's tone was reproachful, though it had softened considerably. She could sense Chen Feng's subtle flirtations, but earlier in the villa she had dropped every hint short of dragging him to bed, yet he had played dumb. This left Zhao Qian uncertain. Her current plan was keep Su Jiqiang steady, seduce Chen Feng, and explore other options. If she ever secured Chen Feng for good, she would dump Su Jiqiang immediately. Darling, you need to work hard, you know. My commission from just one house is this much. If you don't step up, how can I entrust my future to you? It had to be said, Zhao Qian's manipulative skills were unparalleled. A few words were enough to confuse Su Jiqiang completely. Qian, don't worry, I won't let you down. And let me tell you, that kid's money is all mine, and so is that villa. Zhao Qian rolled her eyes at his words. Listen to him. He was delusional with greed. If Su Jiqiang weren't so obedient, she would have dumped him long ago. Su Jiqiang rushed home without a moment's pause, finding the whole family there. Sis, dad, mom were rich. Rich how? Su Jiqiang's father, Su Dahua, immediately stood up. An avid mahjong player with terrible luck, he had been losing a lot lately and couldn't contain his excitement at the mention of wealth. Chen Feng, that bastard Chen Feng has a lot of money. Oh, is that all? We already sent someone to collect what he owes. Su Jiqiang's mother, Ma Tsuelan, said dismissively. No, he's got way more than a few million. That loser just bought a villa in our complex. Villa number 3 worth 100 million. The news hit the family like a thunderbolt. All three of them stared wide-eyed. How much did you say? Su Qing couldn't help but exclaim. 100 million. Are you sure? Even if he has some money, how could he have that much? My girlfriend signed the deal. How could I be wrong? Su Jiqiang was ecstatic. And he's planning to renovate. I'm certain he has plenty of cash on hand. That's all marital property, sis. It should all be ours. The group grew even more excited. Su Dahua in particular immediately put on his shoes and dashed out. Quick, take me to see our grand villa. My God, this villa is way too big. Arriving at Villa No. 3, Su Dahua's family was trembling. The villa was not only spacious, but its amenities were evidently expensive, elevating it several tiers above their elevator apartment. This yard is big enough for soccer. They'll turn it into a mahjong parlor later. Su Dahua had already made plans on the spot. He had even begun to fantasize about the glorious days he would enjoy in the future. Dad, this is a villa. Doing what you said would be so tacky. Su Qing's eyes burned with desire as she gazed at the villa before her. She had dreamed her whole life of living in such a mansion. She never expected a divorce to make it come true. If not a mahjong parlor, then what? Such a big space shouldn't go to waste. Who cares what we do with it? Let's go inside and check it out. Right, let's go see the inside. The four of them approached the main gate, but just as they were about to enter, 2 security guards blocked their way. Excuse me, this is a private residence. Unauthorized personnel, please leave. This is my home. How am I unauthorized? Su Qing's face twisted with displeasure. Exactly, we're going back to our own house, and you dare stop us. Believe me, you'll have your boss fire you. Su Dahua, already hot-tempered, erupted into a tirade at the 2 guards blocking their path. Sorry, but the homeowner has no connection to you whatsoever. The guard frowned, gripping his walkie-talkie ready to call for backup at any moment. They had never encountered such— What do you mean no connection? Chen Feng's wife, or were his family? Do you know the consequences of not letting us into this villa? Su Qing barked in a low, furious tone. That's right, this is a gift from my son-in-law to honor me. I order you to open the door immediately. Sorry, but the homeowner specifically told us he's divorced and has no wife. The guard's voice was icy and his gaze was frigid as he looked at the people before him. How shameless. Divorced and still trying to get their hands on his house. Chen Feng was somewhat well known in the neighborhood, famous for being a pushover. The Su family never treated him as a true son-in-law. Even a dog had more status than Chen Feng. They never treated him well before, but now that they're divorced they call him son-in-law. What? How can he do this? Su Dahua flew into a rage. Quick, call that good for nothing right now. We've supported him all these years. Even a cold stone should have warmed up by now. Ma Zuelon cursed under her breath, clearly furious. The guards looked at them with even deeper contempt. Who supported whom exactly? They knew that before the marriage Chen Feng was a well-known young talent in the neighborhood, and he had even bought the house. But after the wedding the entire Su family moved in. None of them worked, and they relied entirely on Chen Feng for food and expenses, acting as if it were their due. And they still had the nerve to say such things. Su Dahua and his family cursed as they tried to call, but no one answered. Finally, the guards, growing irritated, began to shoo them away, and they left unwillingly. That good for nothing has some nerve not even answering my call. Ma Zuelon was fuming after returning home. Daughter, find a way to contact him. Make him come back and remarry you. Then let him have a doghouse to live in. Otherwise get a lawyer and leave him penniless. Sis, just say a few nice words to that loser and sweet-talk him back. Su Jiqiang muttered, the bride price for Qianqian is due soon. You can deal with him after you get him back. A lawsuit would waste too much time. Hearing this, Su Qing wasted no time and immediately started trying to contact Chen Feng. If her number was blocked, she could use WeChat. There were always ways. 100 million yuan mansion was enough to secure a life of luxury, even better than marrying a rich second-generation heir. Bowing her head and apologizing wasn't so shameful. Meanwhile, Chen Feng, after leaving, immediately sought out the largest security company in the city. This company not only provided personal protection services, but also specialized in residential renovations. Often when protecting certain VIPs, they would renovate the target's residence, gradually gaining considerable expertise in this area. Plus, with many wealthy people now wanting to build doomsday bunkers, their business in this field was thriving. I want to turn a villa into a doomsday bunker. Take me to your manager. Chen Feng explained his situation to the sales representative, who immediately arranged for a reception. Anyone wanting to build a doomsday bunker was a bona fide rich person and a VIP client. After all, ordinary people didn't have the money or energy for it. Building a bunker was an extremely expensive hobby with no practical use. Soon a sharply dressed man approached Chen Feng. Hello, sir. My name is Gao Mingyuan. May I ask how— Gao Mingyuan was very polite, but his mind was racing trying to figure out who this man was. He didn't recognize this face among the wealthy of Qingzhou. Could he be a new tycoon? Chen Feng. Chen Feng handed him the floor plan of his villa. This villa has 3 floors above ground and 1 below each floor, 500 square meters. Can you turn it into a doomsday bunker? Gao Mingyuan studied the floor plan for a moment before speaking again. Mr. Chen, typically doomsday bunkers are built underground. Converting this villa might not yield the best results. Generally, above-ground structures would face serious issues during earthquakes or similar disasters. After all, no one could guarantee the developer hadn't cut corners. Chen Feng shook his head. Of course, he knew underground was safest, but there was clearly no time for that. If he had more time, he would definitely build a better bunker. Don't worry about that. Just do as I say. Chen Feng cleared his throat and began. I need all exterior walls reinforced with titanium alloy plates strong enough to withstand explosions. All windows need to be bulletproof. The entire villa must be lined with highly insulating materials. There needs to be a heating system and backup power capable of maintaining optimal indoor temperature even in -80 degrees. Oh, and I need various security systems to keep out 100 or 200 people. And an air circulation system to ensure I don't die from poison gas. Can you handle all these modifications, eh? Chen Feng smiled as he looked at Gao Mingyuan, whose eyes were already wide with shock. He stared at Chen Feng in disbelief. Gao Mingyuan swallowed hard and said with difficulty, Mr. Chen, did you break some heavenly law to need a fortress like this? Chen Feng was also quite helpless. This was a necessary condition to ensure comfort in the apocalyptic extreme cold environment. Don't worry about these things, just tell me if it can be done. Gao Mingyuan nodded directly. Chen Feng's request was actually not excessive at all. In fact, it could be considered a relatively low-spec safe house, as he had encountered even more outrageous demands before. Our company is professional. All these requirements can be fully met. Rest assured, Mr. Chen. That's good, but I'm in a bit of a hurry. How soon can you finish? Mr. Chen, rest assured our efficiency is absolutely no problem. For your situation, we can get it done in 2 months. Too long. Chen Feng shook his head directly. 2 months later, the apocalypse would have already arrived. An unfinished safe house was no different from an ordinary place. Let's push it a bit more. 1 month might be doable. Gao Mingyuan said subconsciously, his gaze toward Chen Feng, turning somewhat puzzled. For apocalyptic safe houses, builders generally cared about safety, and no one paid attention to the time. Some wealthy individuals even spent several years constructing their shelters. Too long. Chen Feng shook his head again, dissatisfied with this answer. 10 days. I only have 10 days. This time Gao Mingyuan could no longer remain composed, even beginning to suspect that the other party was here to cause trouble. What was this? Making so many demands, and then saying it had to be done in 10 days. Did he think I was easy to bully? However, Gao Mingyuan was ultimately a highly capable professional. Suppressing his inner displeasure, he looked at Chen Feng. Mr. Chen, the timeline you mentioned is likely very difficult to achieve. I understand your concerns, but the decoration of this house is already done. All you need to do is reinforce it and meet my requirements. It's not impossible. Chen Feng had thought it through carefully, otherwise he wouldn't have chosen a large villa for renovation. Mr. Chen, perhaps you don't fully understand I can pay extra. Gao Mingyuan's words were instantly cut off. If that was the case, then it could be discussed. First, calculate the total cost for me. Without the slightest hesitation, Gao Mingyuan took out his notebook and began calculating. After a moment, he listed all the material requirements and the total cost, handing it to Chen Feng. The renovation fee totals 200 million, but that's based on a 1-month construction period. Chen Feng looked at the list and nodded directly. Generally, the decoration cost for a villa is on par with the purchase price. That is, if you spend 100 million on the house, achieving a decent effect would require roughly the same amount for decoration. Yet his renovation, without even considering decoration, directly required 200 million, showing just how costly such an apocalyptic safe house truly was. However, judging by the materials used, it was estimated that even explosives would be utterly ineffective against it. If you can finish it within 10 days, add another 100 million. If you think it's acceptable, I can sign the contract and pay the deposit right now. A sharp intake of breath. Gao Mingyuan, who had been calm until now, could no longer contain himself. He sprang up and excitedly grasped Chen Feng's hand. Mr. Chen, I'll prepare the contract immediately. Let's have a pleasant cooperation. 100 million. That was 100 million. While the initial 200 million would still yield a profit after deducting costs and labor, this extra 100 million was almost pure profit. To speed up the timeline, the simplest solution was to add more manpower. More workers. He had to bring in more workers. For this 100 million, he would give it everything he had. He'll pay a deposit of 100 million first, another 100 million after the inspection, and the final 100 million after living in it for a month without any issues. Is this payment method acceptable? Chen Feng had carefully considered this payment plan. The 200 million was enough for the other party to make a profit. As for the extra 100 million, by the time it was due, the apocalypse would have already begun, and the other party likely wouldn't be able to collect it. Agreed. Gao Mingyuan didn't hesitate for a moment and nodded in agreement. After signing the contract and paying the advance, Chen Feng left the company under Gao Mingyuan's enthusiastic farewell. Quick, have everyone in the company drop their current tasks. Finish this job, and this year's year-end bonus will double. The entire office instantly buzzed with excitement. Gao Mingyuan didn't waste a second. He was already on the phone arranging for materials to be brought in. By the time Chen Feng returned to the neighborhood, workers had already begun measuring his villa with instruments. He couldn't help but marvel at the power of money. But it would only be useful for this period. Once the apocalypse descended, all money would be nothing but worthless. After greeting the security personnel, Chen Feng contacted a local real estate agent and rented an apartment in a warehouse in the same neighborhood for 20,000 yuan. The apartment was for him to live in for the next 10 days. As for the warehouse, since he had ordered a large number of supplies, he needed a place for temporary storage. Otherwise, if he openly stored things into his spatial ability in front of a crowd, he might end up being taken for research before the apocalypse even began. This money is disappearing way too fast. Chen Feng lay on the bed, unable to help but sigh. He had spent 20 million on the house, and now another 100 million on the renovation. Originally, he had 200 million in his pocket, but in the blink of an eye, only a little over 80 million remained. However, Chen Feng wasn't the least bit worried about money. He had many ways to earn more, and with the apocalypse imminent, having too much was meaningless. Enough was sufficient. If it came down to it, he could even mortgage his villa to a loan shark. Now that the safe house and accommodations are taken care of, weapons are still a major problem. Although he had spatial abilities and decent combat skills, without firearms things would still be very difficult. Wasn't there a saying, when the neighbor stocks up on food, I stock up on guns, and the neighbor becomes my pantry? But in this part of the world, it was nearly impossible to get such items. It seems he'll have to hurry up and go abroad for a little zero-cost shopping. Chen Feng took out his phone and immediately booked a ticket to the States. Due to frequent business trips abroad, his visa and passport were all in order, and in that place obtaining weapons was very simple. Besides that, there were countless massive department store warehouses over there. He definitely needed to make a trip. Wasn't zero-cost shopping the trend there now? Having been reborn, he certainly wanted to experience it himself. Just as Chen Feng had booked the ticket and was studying the map for warehouse locations, his phone buzzed a few times, and an unfamiliar number called in. "Hello, honey, it's me." As soon as he answered, Su Qing's reproachful voice came through the receiver. "If you keep ignoring me, I'm really going to get angry." Holy crap. Chen Feng barely held himself back upon hearing Su Qing's utterly resentful words. "So you're saying it's my fault for catching you in bed with someone else? And you dare to be angry with me? What right do you have?" Chen Feng said impatiently. "Just say what you need to say. I'm busy right now." He had no time to deal with his ex-wife's family at the moment, otherwise they would have already been taken care of. "Honey, I heard you not only booked 100 tables for the banquet, but also bought a villa. How could you make such a big decision without consulting me?" Su Qing complained in a coquettish tone. "None of your damn business. I'm buying a house, and it's my affair. Why would I need to discuss it with you?" Chen Feng couldn't hold back any longer and cursed outright. Su Qing was truly shameless, acting as if nothing had happened, and speaking so matter-of-factly, as if she could still manipulate him like a useless fool. "Honey, are you still angry? Let me apologize, okay? I was just confused for a moment. Can we make up?" Su Qing's voice turned pitiful, as if she genuinely regretted her actions. "Honey, I really can't live without you. Come back, please." Hearing her words, Chen Feng almost believed her. If not for the fact that Su Qing had stabbed him through the heart in his past life, if not for already seeing her true nature, he might have softened. "Can't live without me? How you mean you can't live without my money and the villa, right?" Chen Feng sneered in response. If not for his wealth and property, Su Qing wouldn't even spare him a second glance. Seeing Chen Feng unmoved, Su Qing's expression turned sour. Beside her, Su Dahua and Ma Zuelan also looked displeased, snatching the phone to hurl insults. "You worthless piece of trash, don't be ungrateful. We're discussing this nicely with you because we're giving you a chance." "Exactly. If you come back now, we might even set up a doghouse for you in the villa so you can enjoy it too. But if you don't listen to us, not only will you lose the villa, but we won't leave you a single cent. Useless thing, do you really think you're someone important? Don't forget you signed an agreement to leave with nothing. Your money and villa belong to our family." Su Jiqiang couldn't help but curse, but just as he was about to continue, he realized the other party had hung up. "That trash dared to hang up on me." Su Dahua quickly tried to call back, but the phone was already turned off. Clearly they had been blocked. "This kid has some nerve. Get a lawyer. It'll make him go bankrupt." "Yes, right away. Let's see how long he can stay arrogant. Finding a lawyer takes too long. Qian is pushing me for $1 million in bride price. Just think of something." Su Jiqiang hesitated. "Wasn't it 500,000? How did it become $1 million?" Su Qing frowned. "She said she made $1 million selling a house, so she doesn't really need the money. She just wants to see my attitude." Ma Zuelan urged Su Qing to find a solution, insisting that her only son couldn't be left unmarried. Su Qing sighed and called Wang Hao. Upon hearing that Chen Feng had bought a villa worth 100 million, Wang Hao became excited. He had never imagined he would one day own a villa. What was Su Qing's was his, and he was determined to take it from Chen Feng. "Your wife is mine, and I won't let go of your villa either. Darling, don't worry. He'll get some people right away. That trash needs a beating, and once I teach him a lesson, he'll obediently hand over the villa." After hanging up, Su Qing still felt uneasy and called a lawyer. Somehow Chen Feng seemed like a completely different person, and a vague sense of unease gnawed at her. After ending the call, Chen Feng's mind returned to the map. Going to the ugly country required extreme caution, and time was limited. He needed to acquire what he needed as quickly as possible. Leaving that day and returning the next would be ideal. With such a tight schedule, he had to plan everything meticulously. After handling these matters, Chen Feng habitually opened the food delivery app. Ordering takeout was a habit he had to maintain. Ding dong. Just as Chen Feng placed his order and was about to put down his phone to rest, another message came in. He picked up the phone and saw it was from Su Jiqiang's girlfriend Zhao Qian. He had added her contact after buying the house from her. "Chen Feng, are you asleep yet?" "Not yet. What's up?" Zhao Qian clutched her phone nervously at her place. Facing a multimillionaire like Chen Feng, she couldn't help but feel anxious. After all, this was about her future happiness. If she could win Chen Feng over, she could become a wealthy housewife. Why bother selling houses? But although Chen Feng had said he wanted to marry her, he never initiated contact, which made her uneasy. "It's about the villa. The loan documents have been submitted. It should be approved soon." But although Chen Feng had said he wanted to marry her, he never initiated contact, which made her uneasy. "It's about the villa. The loan documents have been submitted. It should be approved soon." "Chen Feng, do you think this dress looks good on me?" Chen Feng looked at the photo and couldn't help but smirk arrogantly. Su Jiqiang, "Oh, Su Jiqiang, aren't you arrogant? You probably never expected your own girlfriend to be actively flirting with me, did you?" The photo was extremely provocative. Zhao Qian was only draped in a sheer nightgown more revealing than any boudoir shot. Unfortunately, Zhao Qian's figure and looks were only average. If not for the desire to spite Su Jiqiang and get back at her, Chen Feng wouldn't even bother with her. After the apocalypse, when he controlled the supplies, what woman couldn't he have? It looks good. Su Jiqiang is really lucky. I've never worn this for him. It's specially for you. If you like it, he'll wear it for you every day. Chen Feng thought for a moment, then forwarded the photo to Su Jiqiang with a message. Your girlfriend looks great in this outfit. Did you buy it for her? After doing this, Chen Feng blocked Su Jiqiang on WeChat and opened the door to pick up his delivery. Meanwhile, Su Jiqiang was so enraged that he jumped off the bed and smashed his phone against the wall. Chen Feng, you bastard. I'm not done with you, just you wait. At Villa No. For adjacent to Villa No. 3 Lin Feier sat wearily on the sofa by the floor-to-ceiling window. Even without makeup, her innate elegance was undeniable. How outrageous. That person is utterly outrageous. Lin Feier fumed, pounding her delicate fists into the sofa as if to vent her fury. The construction at Villa No. 3 next door had gone on all night, leaving her sleepless. She had called to complain, but it was utterly useless. To make matters worse, when hunger struck in the dead of night, and she tried to order takeout, she found every restaurant had stopped accepting orders. And guess what? She watched helplessly as delivery riders swarmed into the neighborhood, all headed to one building. A relentless stream of deliveries never ceasing. When she went down to ask, she learned that all those deliveries were for the owner of Villa No. 3 alone. This only fueled her anger. Her impression of Chen Feng had already been terrible. Not only did his noisy late-night renovations rob her of sleep, but he also left her without a meal. This deep grievance made her grind her teeth in rage. Feier, what's going on next door? It's driving me crazy. A voluptuous woman emerged from a room, her face twisted with annoyance. Her name was Xiao Lulu, Lin Feier's best friend, and a fellow actress, though far less renowned than Lin Feier. She had planned to spend a few days at Lin Feier's place, but on her very first night, the construction noise from next door had been unbearable. Probably renovations, Lin Feier said resentfully. This is too much. If I don't give him a piece of my mind today, he'll think we're pushovers. Xiao Lulu dragged Lin Feier outside. Her fiery temper couldn't tolerate such nonsense. By the villa, Chen Feng looked over the documents Gao Mingyuan handed him and nodded with satisfaction. Mr. Chen, rest assured, I've mobilized all the workers from my company. We'll have it sorted within 10 days. Gao Mingyuan vowed confidently. With the entire company's workforce on 3 shifts around the clock, failure was not an option if he wanted to earn his keep. Good, but remember one thing, quality must be guaranteed. Mr. Chen, don't worry. We won't tarnish our reputation. Gao Mingyuan declared with conviction. Are you ever going to stop? How much longer will this go on? As they spoke, Lin Feier and Xiao Lulu stormed over, seething with anger. Gao Mingyuan declared with conviction. Are you ever going to stop? How much longer will this go on? As they spoke, Lin Feier and Xiao Lulu stormed over, seething with anger. As for Xiao Lulu beside her, she was quite attractive too. Long legs, curvaceous figure, and a body that was simply explosive. A single glance told Chen Feng she was at least at cup. The only drawback was her cookie-cutter influencer face, which bred aesthetic fatigue. Seeing their fury, Chen Feng quickly approached. Miss Lin, my sincere apologies. I just bought this house and couldn't wait to start renovations. Did it disturb? Even if you're renovating, can't you at least time it properly? Working all night is one thing, but not stopping on a Saturday. How are we supposed to rest? Lin Feier complained bitterly, her furrowed brow and pout making her look remarkably beautiful. If this were the apocalypse, and he took her home, he'd probably live at least 3 years less. Before Chen Feng could respond, Xiao Lulu cooed, tugging at Lin Feier's hand. Feier, he didn't mean it. Don't be so angry. Lin Feier stared at Xiao Lulu in disbelief. At home you were angrier than me. How is this suddenly? Your tone makes it sound like I'm the one to blame. In an instant, Lin Feier understood. Xiao Lulu, who usually looked down on everyone, suddenly siding with Chen Feng, could only mean one thing. She had taken a liking to him. Hello, Lulu. How about we exchange contact info? That way we can communicate about any issues, Xiao Lulu said, batting her eyes and leaning forward, her neckline offering an irresistible view. Master tea artist. The term flashed through Chen Feng's mind. She was cut from the same cloth as Zhao Qian, but far prettier and far more skilled. Still, Chen Feng couldn't care less. He pulled out his phone and added her contact. A tea artist was fine. When the apocalypse came, he'd toss her a bread roll. Given his resources, he could afford it. Once today's work is done, the noise will quiet down, and it won't bother you anymore. You won't hold it against me, will you, big star? No, Mr. Chen, renovate as long as you like. It doesn't bother us at all. Xiao Lulu chimed in, eagerly earning a furious pinch on her waist from Lin Feier. Truly a friend who abandons all loyalty for a man. But can't you see clearly? He's a womanizer. Why are you throwing yourself at him? Back at the house, Xiao Lulu grabbed Lin Feier excitedly. Feier, I never expected your neighbor to be such a young, successful man. I thought he'd be some bald pot-bellied old geezer. I de-advise you to keep your distance. He's no good. He even hooks up with saleswomen when buying a house, Lin Fei warned irritably. Far from being angry, Xiao Lulu's eyes lit up. She was far more attractive than any salesgirl. Winning him over would be a breeze. After giving instructions on the renovations, Chen Feng left the neighborhood. Today he planned to get a few vehicles and, if possible, finalize the deal on snowmobiles. After all, when snow piled up several meters deep, only snowmobiles would be of any use. The moment Chen Feng stepped out of the neighborhood, a group of thugs emerged from the shadows and surrounded him. Something wrong. Chen Feng sneered at the thugs. If it came to a fight, he could take them down in 20 seconds. These idle punks were nothing compared to the desperate souls of the apocalypse. Break his legs first. Su Jiqiang stepped out from a corner, his eyes burning with venom. Oh, if it isn't Jiqiang. I even sent you those photos last night. How ungrateful can you be? Without me, you'd never have had the privilege of seeing such beautiful pictures. Boiling with rage, Su Jiqiang grabbed a steel pipe from the ground and swung it at Chen Feng's head. Damn it. They'll beat you so badly your own mother won't recognize you. Watching the opponent's attack hurtling toward him, Chen Feng showed no hesitation. Even surrounded by a group of thugs, he effortlessly evaded Su Jiqiang's strike. Apart from the formidable combat skills Chen Feng had honed during the apocalypse, there was an even more crucial reason. He had awakened spatial powers, granting him an extraordinary perception of his surroundings. At this moment, Su Jiqiang's movements appeared excruciatingly slow in his eyes. The instant he dodged the attack, he delivered a swift kick, sending Su Jiqiang crashing to the ground. The intense pain caused Su Jiqiang to wail incessantly. What are you waiting for? Cripple him. The thugs snapped back to action and lunged at Chen Feng with clenched fists. Yet within moments they were all knocked to the ground, each letting out agonized screams. How? How did you become so powerful? Su Jiqiang's scalp tingled with disbelief. This useless man who used to never fight back or retort had completely transformed. Impressive, you even know how to rally people. It seems I really need to teach you a lesson today. Chen Feng looked down at Su Jiqiang, his face brimming with mockery. Chen Feng, I didn't expect you to have some real skills hiding such tricks. I'm genuinely impressed. Not far away, Wang Hao emerged with another man. This was a classic outfit to boost attack speed. Chen Feng sighed deeply. In his past life, the loan shark boss was equally astonished to see Chen Feng, never expecting to run into an acquaintance. But he quickly regained his composure. Familiar or not, making money was what mattered. What did I go too easy on you last time that you forgot your lesson? Now you're back to cause me trouble. Chen Feng, quit your bluster. You beat up Master Hu's men, and you'll pay for it. Wang Hao then turned his gaze to Master Hu beside him. Master Hu, it's the scoundrel. Please deal with him. Master Hu stepped forward slowly and addressed Chen Feng. Mr. Chen, I didn't expect we'd meet again. Neither did I expect to see you so soon. It seems fate truly binds us. Chen Feng smiled while Su Jiqiang and Wang Hao's faces darkened with anxiety. This useless man actually knows Master Hu, and they seem quite familiar. Mr. Chen, friendship is friendship, business is business. Today's matter is your fault. Master Hu's smile hit a knife. One moment, he was all cheer, the next his tone shifted, creating distance. Su Jiqiang and Wang Hao breathed a sigh of relief. Master Hu was still reliable. It is indeed my fault. Here, take this 200,000 as medical expenses for the brothers. Chen Feng said, transferring 200,000 to Master Hu without a second thought. Also, whatever they paid you will double it. Can Master Hu help me resolve this trouble? At these words, Wang Hao panicked and roared. Chen Feng, you useless bastard, are you asking for death? Master Hu is not someone you. Before he could finish, Master Hu's palm landed on his face, sending him sprawling. Master Hu, you shut up. Who the hell is useless? This is my brother. You're here to sow discord between us. Tired of living. Master Hu then kicked Wang Hao again, terrifying Su Jiqiang into silence. Drag them away and beat them. Today they'll learn their lesson. Master Hu, I was wrong. Spare me. Chen Feng, I'll never dare again. The two immediately begged for mercy, their arrogance gone. Mr. Chen, what do you think? Since they've begged for mercy, just give them a light lesson. Hearing this, the two finally relaxed. Just break one hand each. Wang Hao and Su Jiqiang's faces fell instantly. Chen Feng, I won't let you off. You're dead. Wang Hao's gaze turned ferocious, but as soon as he spat the threat, he was dragged away. Don't kill anyone. Chen Feng said, transferring 1 million to Master Hu without hesitation. He didn't believe Wang Hao would have paid 500,000 for Master Hu's services. 1 million was more than enough. Indeed, when Master Hu received the million, he couldn't help but regard Chen Feng with newfound respect and astonishment. In all his years in this business, he had never met someone as generous as Chen Feng. Mr. Chen is truly magnanimous. I heard you bought a villa worth 100 million. Master Hu asked with a smile. In the lending business, he naturally kept tabs on his borrowers. Some details eluded him, but Chen Feng's villa purchase was no secret. Chen Feng looked at him, a thought flashing through his mind, and a subtle smile curled at the corner of his mouth. Indeed, I have you to thank, Master Hu. Without that 5 million loan, I wouldn't have made so much money so quickly or bought that villa. At these words, Master Hu's interest was piqued. What business could turn 5 million into 100 million in just a few days? That was far more lucrative than usury. Sensing Master Hu's curiosity, Chen Feng said mysteriously, to be honest, I've been trading cryptocurrency. With leverage that 5 million multiplied 20-fold in one night. Now I regret buying the villa. I'm scrambling to gather funds to seize this opportunity and make another fortune. Master Hu's eyes widened in disbelief. 100 million in one night. That was faster than printing money. He would have doubted anyone else, but Chen Feng had actually bought the villa. How could he not believe it? How much do you need? 80 million secured by my villa, which is worth 100 million. I've signed a 300 million contract with the renovation company. If I can't repay, you could easily sell it for 90 million. Master Hu gasped, clearly tempted. Yet he managed to suppress his excitement. I need to think this over. It's a substantial sum. All right, but be quick. The crypto market fluctuates rapidly. They'll give you my answer tonight. Send me those contracts. Deal. Watching Master Hu depart, Chen Feng finally let out a cold laugh. The bait had been taken. Master Hu made his living through usury, ruining countless lives. Chen Feng considered this his way of delivering justice. After sending the documents to Master Hu, Chen Feng arrived at a renowned local auto modification shop. Boss, he'll take 10 of those snowmobiles you have out front. At the Thunder Modification Shop, Li Bingyao sat at the front desk, drowsy and half asleep. The modification industry was like this. On ordinary days, the shop was rather quiet. She was still pondering what to eat after work when a sudden voice snapped her back to reality. Before her appeared a rather handsome man. What was more startling was that he asked for 10 snowmobiles outright. Sir, are you joking? The price of snowmobiles was fairly average, ranging from tens of thousands to over 100,000. After modifications by their shop, the price hovered around 100,000 each. Though 10 units only amounted to a little over 1 million, her commission was substantial, nearly 100,000. On her base salary alone, she couldn't earn that much in a year. Of course, I'm not joking. Draw up the contract quickly, Chen Feng said with a smile, his gaze sweeping over the woman before him. Her figure was incredibly alluring, with curves so perfect they surpassed even Xiao Lulu's, at least at cup. Chen Feng muttered to himself, not only was her body stunning, but her face was also seductive, exuding an innate charm. In ancient times, she would undoubtedly have been a femme fatale who could bring down kingdoms. Li Bingyao naturally noticed Chen Feng's gaze. Though her cheeks flushed, she didn't shy away. As she brought the contract over, she subtly displayed her impressive cleavage. Mr. Chen, 10 units, total 1,300,000. We only have 2 in stock, but rest assured we'll deliver the rest within 5 days. All right. By the way, is that Mercedes-Benz G-Class modified by you? Chen Feng pointed to a nearby vehicle. It looked like a G-Class, already imposing, but after modification it became even more eye-catching. Yes, this is our modified Arctic Apocalypse model. It's fully adapted to icy and snowy conditions, gliding effortlessly even on ice. The interior heating and insulation are excellent, functioning normally even in -40-degree weather. Chen Feng inspected it from all sides and found it satisfactory. After the apocalypse struck and the snow stopped, he would indeed need such a vehicle for transportation. This thing was far more comfortable than a snowmobile. How much? 1,300,000. I mean, how much for this Mercedes G-Class? Li Bingyao was stunned, thinking she had misheard, but seeing Chen Feng's serious expression, she realized he genuinely wanted to buy the car. Is it not for sale? It is for sale? 6 million. If you want it, Mr. Chen, the price is negotiable. Li Bingyao blushed and subtly pulled her collar lower. No need. Write up the contract. Can I drive it away today? Oh well. Li Bingyao was shocked again. This man was truly wealthy. Looking at Chen Feng, she felt like throwing herself at him. A handsome rich man like this had actually crossed her path. Mr. Chen, will handle the paperwork immediately. Will it be full payment or installment? Li Bingyao pulled Chen Feng back to his seat. He felt his arm pressed against a softness and smirked. He didn't reject her advances. After all, Li Bingyao was genuinely attractive. Though not as stunning as Lin Feier, she was at least a 9 out of 10. Installments would give you a higher commission, right? Set it up that way, but make it fast. Hearing this, Li Bingyao grew even more excited. Chen Feng was incredibly considerate. Mr. Chen, you're so kind to me. He'll take care of it right away. The process went smoothly. When handling the loan, Li Bingyao learned that Chen Feng owned a villa worth 100 million, and she tugged her collar even lower. But Chen Feng didn't waste much time there. Before the apocalypse arrived, he had many things to do. Driving away from the Thunder Modification Shop, he headed straight to a Michelin-starred restaurant. He ordered a mountain of cooked food, booking the entire place. The kitchen staff worked frantically with pots and pans clattering. Whenever a batch was ready, Chen Feng had them deliver it to his car in the underground garage. After they left, he stored everything in his space. From high-end Western cuisine and Chinese banquet dishes to humble street food and takeout, Chen Feng spared nothing he encountered. At the Su residence, Su Dahua looked at Su Jiqiang and the other man lying on the sofa with bandaged hands, feeling frustrated at their incompetence. You two useless fools can't even handle a waste. What good are you? Uncle, it's not that we're useless. That waste has teamed up with Boss Hu. We had no choice. Wang Hao said, Dad, sis, you have to avenge me. That waste broke my hand. Call the police. I don't believe he can be so arrogant. He injured people. He should be thrown in jail. Ma Tsuelon shouted indignantly, insisting on calling the police. Mom, don't act rashly. If we call the police, Boss Hu won't let us off. Su Qing's expression darkened. Boss Hu was no simple figure. Provoking him would lead to dire consequences. Then what do? We can't just let him have his way, can we? Su Jiqiang protested. They had already hired a lawyer, but it would take— Fine. Since he's so ungrateful, let's make a scene. Follow me to the villa and block him. Su Dahua ordered. Without hesitation, they went to Chen Feng's villa. They arrived just as Chen Feng drove back. Holy crap, that's a Mercedes G-Class. It must be worth at least a few million. Wang Hao's eyes burned with envy as he saw Chen Feng get out of the car. Money, that was all his money. You ungrateful bastard. We raised you for years and treated you well, yet you scheme against us. Exactly. My daughter took care of you for so long, and now that you've made money, you shamelessly abandoned her. Do you have any conscience? Watching Su Dahua and Ma Tsuelon roll on the ground, making a scene, Chen Feng couldn't be bothered with them. He was busy, and since it wasn't the apocalypse, yet even if he sought revenge, it wouldn't be satisfying. A slight move might land him in legal trouble, bringing more headaches. But as he tried to leave, the family refused to let him go, grabbing his leg. I don't want to resort to force. You'd better get out of my way, Chen Feng said coldly as more onlookers gathered, pointing fingers at him. Are you going to hit me? Ma Tsuelon burst into loud wails. Is there no justice? This ingrate abandoned my daughter, and today had someone break my son's hand. Dear neighbors, you must judge for me. The neighbors who had gathered to watch wore expressions of utter contempt. This was pure beastly behavior. As Chen Feng surveyed the scene, his gaze finally turned sharp and fierce. Since they have no shame, don't blame me for being merciless. Chen Feng initially planned to let the Su family enjoy a few more days of peace. But since they've come to bully him at his doorstep, he no longer felt the need to save face for them. Su Qing, what gives you the nerve to bring your family here and make a scene? Upon hearing this, Su Qing lifted her chin, fully convinced she was in the right. She said matter-of-factly, making a scene. Don't you owe us a reasonable explanation for what you've done? Exactly, this villa is ours. Isn't it only right for us to take back what belongs to us? You beast, you even had people throw us out. Have you no humanity? Su Dahua and Ma Tsuelon, being shameless themselves, were accustomed to throwing tantrums. They relentlessly berated Chen Feng, drawing looks of disdain from the surrounding crowd. I always thought Xiao Chun was a good son-in-law, diligent and long-suffering. Who knew he could be such a scoundrel? Ah, you never truly know a person. He's no different from a beast. Pa, shameless. If it were me, I'd beat him to death. The neighbors were indignant, while in Villa No. For not far away, Lin Feier and Xiao Lulu sat by the window, watching the entire scene unfold below. I told you Chen Feng was no good. Do you believe me now? Lin Feier's opinion of Chen Feng had plummeted to an all-time low. At first, she thought he was just a scumbag who used money to toy with women. But today she learned he had abandoned his wife, injured her family, and even seized their property. Unless pushed to the brink, who would make a spectacle of themselves in public? Yet Xiao Lulu paid no attention to Lin Feier's words, her eyes fixed on the Mercedes-Benz G-Class behind Chen Feng. That car must cost a fortune, right? The Mercedes-Benz G-Class itself was worth millions, and since it was modified, it was certainly even more expensive. Hearing this, Lin Feier rolled her eyes. So you haven't listened to a single word I said, have you? Did you hear me? I know, Feier, don't worry. I'm not stupid. Xiao Lulu agreed readily, but her gaze kept drifting back to Chen Feng's group. Chen Feng was now divorced. Such a wealthy and handsome man. It was only natural for her to pursue him. Moreover, she was far more appealing than his ex-wife, both in figure and appearance, completely outshining her. More importantly, she didn't believe anyone could resist her charm. Meanwhile, under the clamor of Su Dahua and his wife, Chen Feng had been cast as a heartless man. The neighbors all looked at him with utter contempt. Su Qing watched this with a cold sneer in her heart. Chen Feng, I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. You forced this confrontation, and you deserve it. Do you think I can't take you down today? With that thought, Su Qing approached Chen Feng with a pitiful air, taking his hand. Husband, let's remarry, okay? They'll treat you twice as well from now on. If you agree, you'll let go of what you did to my brother. Hearing this, the crowd shook their heads, feeling sorry for Su Qing. It seems we've misjudged Su Qing all along. What a good woman. Truly a virtuous wife and caring mother. Exactly, I always thought she was lazy and neglectful of the family. Who knew she was so devoted? This Chen Feng is a beast, not human. We've all been fooled by him. In an instant, some neighbors' attitudes toward Chen Feng underwent a dramatic shift. They believed his years of hard work had all been a facade. Have you had enough of this act? Chen Feng sneered at Su Qing beside him. Husband, I. Before she could finish, a sharp slap landed on her face, stunning her. Su Qing was dumbfounded, and so was the crowd. None expected Chen Feng to be so brazen as to resort to violence. You beast. Su Dahua was about to curse when Chen Feng slapped him to the ground. You shameless waste. Today ill. Another slap rang out. Chen Feng didn't hold back, landing a blow on Matsuelan that left her seeing stars. Satisfaction. He had never felt so liberated. Don't go too far, or we'll call the police. A neighbor unable to bear it stepped forward but quickly retreated upon seeing Chen Feng crack his knuckles. It wasn't worth taking a slap for this. Chen Feng, do you really think we're easy to bully? Su Qing shouted, her gaze icy with rage. Ha, I think you're the one who thinks I'm easy to push around. What gave you the nerve to cause trouble here? Chen Feng looked at her in exasperation, then turned to the gathered neighbors. Since everyone's here and this shameless family is making such a fuss, I won't hold back anymore. Chen Feng declared, though the neighbors sneered. After hitting people, did he think he was in the right? Ignoring them, Chen Feng continued. You neighbors all know how this family exploited me. I'm a high-ranking manager at a company earning 50 to 60,000 a month. I should be living well, right? But the reality is, I've never had more than 200 yuan in my pocket. Why are you bringing this up? As a man, isn't it your duty to support the family? Su Jiqiang grumbled. You dare to talk about supporting the family? You're over 20 jobless, eating my food, using my money, living under my roof. And on top of that, you made me pay your wedding dowry. I'm not your father. What gave you the nerve? Su Jiqiang's face turned red and pale, but he stubbornly retorted, my sister married you, so isn't it only right for you to contribute to the family? To hell with only right. I've worked myself to the bone for this family. I even accepted supporting you 3 leeches. But this woman spent my money on other men, bought sports cars for her lover, and raised his child. Do you think I'm an idiot? Is there no justice? Is there no law? The neighbors' expressions shifted instantly upon hearing this. The Su family was utterly shameless. Any man would lose it over something like this. You're lying. This is slander, defaming my daughter. Su, slander. Fine. I happen to have a video of them in bed. Since the neighbors are all here, let them judge whether. With that, Chen Feng pulled out his phone, ready to share the video in the neighborhood group. Su Qing, who had been furious moments ago, was now utterly panicked at this sight. If the video of her and Wang Hao in bed were to be shared in the neighborhood group, she would truly lose all face. Moreover, she would be scorned wherever she went. Su Qing rushed over and immediately stopped Chen Feng. Honey, do you really have to go this far? Stop right there. I'm not your husband. Your family treated me like an ATM. How could I possibly deserve that? Chen Feng said lightly. Besides, we've been divorced for a long time. We're no longer connected. The surrounding neighbors instantly understood the situation. It seemed exactly as Chen Feng had said. The Su family was clearly in the wrong, constantly exploiting him. Otherwise, things would never have escalated to this point. The Su family is shameless like parasites. Even after the divorce, they won't let Chen Feng go. Exactly. I just realized that Su Dahua has been gambling recklessly, losing a lot of money. I wondered how he could afford it, but now it's clear he was taking money from his son-in-law. Look at how good Chen Feng is. That woman Su Qing is clearly no good. She even cheated on him. The neighbors instantly turned their accusations, leaving Su Qing's family utterly humiliated, wishing they could crawl into a hole. Finally, at a loss for what to do, they slunk away in disgrace. Chen Feng, since you say we're divorced, you should know you left with nothing. I suggest you hand over the villa and the money, and I might leave you a little something. Su Qing's tone turned venomous as she issued a vicious threat. Before Chen Feng could even speak, the watching neighbors couldn't help but start jeering. Su Qing, you cheat on your husband, and now you're after your ex-husband's money. Have you no shame? Exactly, you didn't cherish your own husband, and now you want to ruin him. How cruel can you be? Su Qing's face darkened. Since when did these outsiders have the right to meddle in her affairs? Besides, she was just reclaiming what was hers. Was she wrong? Chen Feng, just you wait. Su Qing spat out a final threat before fleeing. The neighbors cursed loudly, having never seen such a shameless woman. Xiao Chen, we neighbors know your character. Don't worry, we'll speak up for you. That's right. By the way, aren't you divorced now? My daughter happens to be single. Would you like to meet her? Chen Feng suddenly became the center of attention as a crowd eagerly introduced their daughters. It took him great effort to escape their siege. Back at his place, Chen Feng received a message from Su Qing via an unknown number. I've already hired a lawyer. We'll see about this. Chen Feng didn't reply, he couldn't be bothered. His WeChat had a backlog of messages, including one from Master, who had decided to take the deal, though he could only offer 70 million for the villa. Chen Feng didn't argue. Whatever the villa fetched was profit. Just as he was about to transfer the money, after finalizing with Master, who the latter suddenly inquired about cryptocurrency. Mr. Chen, about that cryptocurrency you mentioned, is there any risk? I have some savings and want to invest. Chen Feng's heart leaped with joy. Was this a loan shark? This was clearly a godsend. Chen Feng dropped everything else and began explaining cryptocurrency, promising that if master who invested with him had guarantee at least a double return in half a month. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. Take a chance, and you'll be set for 3 generations. I've gone all in myself. Would I lie to you? Upon hearing this, master who immediately transferred 150 million to Chen Feng. 70 million was for the villa mortgage, and 80 million was Master Hu's own savings. What a generous man. Chen Feng gratefully accepted, pleasantly surprised that he could secure so much money. Half a month later, the apocalypse would have already arrived. Repaying the money was out of the question. After handling Master Hu, the restaurant messaged that the banquet was ready and would be delivered tomorrow. At the bottom of his WeChat, there were a few messages from Xiao Lulu. Mr. Chen, let me apologize on behalf of Fair. She's too immature. I hope you don't mind. Mr. Chen, your car is so cool. Could you take me for a ride? Chen Feng opened Xiao Lulu's moments where her posts were all about showing off her chest and legs. A blatant display of her figure. One might think she was selling herself. Sure, I'll take you out for some fun sometime. My car's suspension is top-notch. After replying, Chen Feng tossed his phone aside, unwilling to bother further. Early the next morning, the restaurant staff delivered the banquet, and dishes were continuously transported to his rented warehouse. Each time the warehouse was filled, Chen Feng would close the door and store everything in his space. The process lasted half a day, exhausting Chen Feng. But the results were excellent. Hundreds of banquet tables would last him a long time, though it still didn't give him a sense of security. He'll go back and order more. I won't miss any place that takes orders. Chen Feng rubbed his neck and entered the elevator to go home. Just as the elevator doors were closing, Zhao Qian hurried in wearing high heels. Chen Feng, I need to discuss something about the loan with you. Is it convenient to go to your place? Chen Feng looked at Zhao Qian, whose face was flushed, and a faint smile crept across his lips. Discussing the loan at home. Did she really mean that? I won't call you out on it. Of course it's convenient. I actually have something to tell you too. Once they got home, Zhao Qian casually took off her jacket, revealing a strikingly seductive outfit. Black stockings, high heels, and a form-fitting silk dress accentuated every curve of her body, making her incredibly alluring. Chen Feng smiled knowingly at the sight. She had clearly dressed up carefully, aiming to win him over. This outfit is nice. Even better than the one from... Chen Feng sat on the sofa watching Zhao Qian as she flaunted her hot figure. You have nerve bringing that up. I sent it to you specially, but you forwarded it to Su Jiqiang. He scolded me and now wants to break up. Zhao Qian said with a look of grievance. I'm different from other men. If you want to be with me, don't mess around with others. Zhao Qian realized she had misspoken and quickly tried to appease him. I just thought it was too good for that loser Su Jiqiang. Of course I want to be with you. From the moment I saw you, I fell for you. How much do you like me? Show me. Zhao Qian smiled seductively, knelt before Chen Feng, and lowered her. Chen Feng felt as if his head was about to explode. He never imagined that Zhao Qian would pull such a stunt on him, leaving him completely unprepared. Watching her bury herself in work while tugging at his clothes, Chen Feng would be no man if he remained indifferent. Without much hesitation, he directly lifted Zhao Qian, ready to take the lead. Chen Feng, are your words? Zhao Qian placed her hands on Chen Feng's shoulders, her expression seductive and eyes full of affection. Of course they are. As long as you completely sever ties with Su Jiqiang, I'll give you 1 million as a betrothal gift. Chen Feng answered without hesitation, facing this former enemy. If he ignored what was offered to him on a silver platter, he would be worse than a beast. Don't worry. Since I've chosen you, I'll naturally cut off Su Jiqiang. Besides, how can a waste like him compare? Zhao Qian cast Chen Feng a coquettish glance. Chen Feng was more than willing to watch the drama of Zhao Qian and Su Jiqiang turning against each other. It would be best if they both ended up ruined. When Zhao Qian heard about the 1 million betrothal gift, she couldn't help but sneer inwardly. At this moment, who would still care about such a thing? Her mind was entirely on Chen Feng's villa and luxury car. After tonight, she would become a wealth. With that thought, Zhao Qian eagerly threw herself at Chen Feng, shedding her clothes in an instant, leaving them both completely exposed. A ringing phone interrupted them at an inopportune moment, causing both to pause. When Zhao Qian saw it was Su Jiqiang calling, a look of disdain crossed her face, and she hung up without a second thought. A useless good-for-nothing like him wants to stop me from rising in the world. He must be insane. But just as she turned back to Chen Feng, the phone rang again. Su Jiqiang. Chen Feng smirked, his tone brooking no refusal. Answer it. But we're in the middle of. Zhao Qian blushed, catching his meaning from his gaze. Chen Feng was testing her. To be with him, she had to show her stance and immediately sever ties with Su Jiqiang. Don't blame me for this. Zhao Qian playfully punched Chen Feng, murmuring, shyly, you're so naughty, how can you have such a hobby? Despite her words, Zhao Qian obediently answered the call. Qian, great news, the best news ever. Su Jiqiang was ecstatic on the other end, but Zhao Qian was utterly indifferent, responding absent-mindedly, what great news could you possibly have? Did you finally scrape together the betrothal gift? She no longer cared about a million. Once she secured Chen Feng, what was a mere million? No, Chen Feng signed an agreement to leave the marriage with nothing when he divorced my sister. Everything he has now belongs to our family. Zhao Qian froze, hesitated, then pushed Chen Feng away to grab her phone. Are you kidding me? Of course not. We've already consulted a lawyer. Chen Feng won't be smug for long. Soon not just the villa, but every penny in his pocket will be ours. Su Jiqiang's excited voice echoed through the phone. Zhao Qian hung up and glared at Chen Feng. Is what Su Jiqiang said true? Did you sign an agreement to leave with nothing? Yes. Chen Feng admitted without hiding anything, smiling at Zhao Qian. But these... Slap. Before Chen Feng could finish, he was stunned by a sudden slap. Are you insane? If you signed away everything, why are you still seducing other people's girlfriends? Are you out of your mind? Zhao Qian was furious. She quickly dressed and stormed out, slamming the door. Holy crap. Chen Feng was dumbfounded, holding his cheek, taking a long moment to snap out of it. What the hell is wrong with her? She came to my place on her own, said she wanted to cut ties with Su Jiqiang, and then when I'm ready to go, she slaps me. Damn, it'll get my revenge. When the apocalypse comes, I'll make her pay, or my name isn't Chen. Chen Feng was fuming. He had never suffered such humiliation. If it weren't for the fact that Zhao Qian was Su Jiqiang's girlfriend and his enemy, and he wanted to spite them, he wouldn't have given her a second glance with her looks. No, I can't let this slide. Spotting Zhao Qian's stockings and lingerie left by the bed, Chen Feng grabbed them without a second thought and headed to the Su family home. At the Su residence, the family gathered, their faces brimming with excitement. The lawyer had confirmed that with the divorce agreement, reclaiming the property was a sure thing. Though they had anticipated this outcome, the lawyer's assurance put their minds at ease. See now? Forget the betrothal gift. If you marry me, you'll never have to work again. Just stay home and live like a rich lady. Su Jiqiang smugly held Zhao Qian's hand. He was more excited than ever, not only about seeing Chen Feng humiliated, but also about taking all his wealth. A villa. I've always believed in you. Zhao Qian clung to Su Jiqiang's arm, rubbing against it coquettishly. Su Jiqiang's eyebrows shot up, ecstatic, as he felt the softness of her skin against his arm, with nothing in between. This girl was provoking him in front of everyone. But you know my family situation. I'm my parents' only child. Now that you're well off, could you give me 2 million as a betrothal gift? Zhao Qian said sweetly. Su Qing and her parents frowned. Zhao Qian had already raised the betrothal gift several times, as she was too greedy. Fine, 2 million it is. Don't worry, we won't shortchange you. Su Jiqiang declared boldly, making Zhao Qian tremble with excitement. Matsuelan and her husband shook their heads inwardly. But with only one son, they had to agree, not wanting to dampen his spirits. Just then a knock came at the door. When they opened it and saw Chen Feng, the group turned mocking. Chen Feng, it's too late to beg for mercy now. Su Qing sneered at him, her chin held high. She had expected him to come crawling back, but it was too late. Chen Feng, kneel and beg for mercy now, and maybe you'll be kind enough to leave you 1,000 or 2. Chen Feng sneered at his arrogance. I'm not here to beg. He pulled out the items and thrust them into Zhao Qian's arms. You left in such a hurry that you forgot your clothes at my place. I'm just returning them. In an instant, the expressions of everyone present drastically shifted. Zhao Qian was even frozen in place, staring at Chen Feng in disbelief. Clearly, she had not anticipated such audacity from him. Particularly Su Jiqiang, who upon seeing the clothes Chen Feng handed over immediately darkened his countenance. His remaining hand clenched tightly, barely concealing the fury blazing within. He had just been wondering why Zhao Qian wasn't wearing any undergarments today. Initially, he thought she was doing it on purpose, but damn it, she had been fooling around with Chen Feng. You bastard! Su Jiqiang moved to strike Chen Feng, but Chen Feng, seizing the opportunity, simply turned and fled. Did he really want to keep arguing with them? He had already lit the fuse what happened to the Su family, and Zhao Qian was none of his concern now. Time to prepare for a trip to the United States. He had no desire to waste another moment. Revenge. After the apocalypse arrived, he would have plenty of time. After Chen Feng left, Su Jiqiang delivered a resounding slap to Zhao Qian's face. The other members of the Su family glared at her with malice. You slut, and you still have the nerve to ask for a bride price. Get lost. Su Jiqiang roared, his pride wounded by the cuckolding. Jiqiang, you've misunderstood me. Nothing happened between Chen Feng and me. He's framing me. Zhao Qian, pitiful and tearful, clutched her cheek as tears streamed down her face. I'm framing you. Then why are your clothes with him? Do you take me for a fool? Su Jiqiang was incandescent with rage, and Su Dahua, beside him, nodded vigorously. This engagement was truly beyond salvaging. As for Su Qing, she let out a cold snort and berated. You're already my brother's girlfriend, yet you stoop to such shameless behavior, sneaking around behind his back. There's no point in continuing this relationship. Zhao Qian had cuckolded her brother, and Su Qing was furious. That Zhao Qian had entangled herself with Chen Feng only made Su Qing angrier. Zhao Qian watched Su Qing's self-righteous, sanctimonious act and couldn't help but but sneer inwardly. How ridiculous was this? She herself had cheated as if it were only natural, while I not even married yet. Am 1,000 times more honorable than she is. But she kept these thoughts to herself and hurriedly said, Chen Feng is deliberately trying to sow discord among us. We mustn't fall for it. Jiqiang uncle and aunt, think about how cunning Chen Feng really is. Her words plunged the Su family into silence. She had a point. Chen Feng was indeed treacherous, and this was entirely possible. Then how do you explain these things? Su Jiqiang remained unconvinced, a seed of doubt planted, especially since those undergarments were a gift from him. I lost these sets days ago. Chen Feng must have bribed my roommate to steal them. Honey, believe me, you're the only one in my heart. Zhao Qian said, tugging at Su Jiqiang's sleeve with a pitiful. Su Jiqiang furrowed his brow, unable to discern the truth. Just then a lawyer entered and handed out documents. I've looked into Chen Feng's situation. He currently has 180 million in cash plus a villa and luxury cars. The revelation left everyone utterly stunned. How much? Their faces were etched with shock, scarcely believing their ears. 180 million, and that's just the cash. Su Qing was beside herself. Why had she divorced Chen Feng in the first place? If only she hadn't brought Wang Hao home. Wouldn't it have been better to keep such a golden goose under her control? Even though she could reclaim the money through litigation, the lawyers charged by percentage. With so much money, the legal fees alone would be millions. Su Qing's heart ached. As for Zhao Qian, she clung even tighter to Su Jiqiang. Forget the villa and cars. Even just the 180 million in cash was enough reason for her to hold on to Su Jiqiang for dear life. Quick, find a way to freeze his assets before he transfers them. Su Qing was the first to speak. That was the top priority. Don't worry, I've already initiated legal proceedings, but it'll take some time. We need to prove the money is marital property. The lawyer remained unhurried. This case was a slam dunk. Of course it's marital property. Could he possibly have earned this much on his own? Su Dahua grumbled, but even so they had to follow legal procedures. The next morning, Chen Feng boarded a flight to Florida, USA. He had already planned his operation back home. He chose Florida for its chaos, a place where acquiring the weapons he needed would be easy. Moreover, it boasted vast warehouses, seafood cold storage facilities, and ranches, the perfect setting for his shopping spree. One big haul, and life during the apocalypse would be as comfortable as could be. 2 hours later, Chen Feng landed and met the guide he had arranged. In 2080, global transportation had advanced immensely. 2 hours was enough to reach any. Oh, my friend, I've been waiting for you. The guide, a handsome man of Eastern descent, greeted Chen Feng with a warm embrace. Yi Tian, long time no see. Chen Feng smiled. Yi Tian was a business partner, and their frequent dealings had forged a close bond. Come, I've arranged accommodation for you. Let's grab a bite first. Yi Tian, I'm on a tight schedule. Let's get down to business. Hearing this, Yi Tian's smile faded, replaced by a grave expression. Chen Feng, even if you manage to get those things, you won't be able to take them back. Chen Feng shook his head. Don't worry about that. I have my plans. All right, since you say so, I won't press further. I've already set up the contact. The two got into the car and drove toward a suburban area. As a non-citizen, Chen Feng couldn't acquire weapons legally, so he had to buy from private sellers. Of course, Florida didn't suffer fools. Some private individuals were even more formidable than official forces. They arrived at an estate, and when Chen Feng saw the weaponry, he was stunned. This wasn't an illegal arms dealer, it was a full-blown warlord. A warehouse full of gear enough to equip a small army. Got the money. The boss squinted at Chen Feng, while Yi Tian was left outside. Hey, race, $1 million. I need enough. The boss cut him off, aiming a weapon at Chen Feng's head. Leave the money and get out. Chen Feng was taken aback, his face darkening with fury. This scoundrel actually intended to devour him. He had never anticipated such brazen shamelessness. Dear sir, I merely came to make a purchase. Please, no jokes, all right. Chen Feng's tone turned lethally cold. Florida truly harbored no idlers. FK, utter another word, and he'll take your life too. The man sneered, repeatedly brandishing his weapon, as if ready to pull the trigger at any moment. Don't think I'm unaware of your strict bans on such weapons. If I report you to your authorities, I might even earn a commendation banner, believe it or not. Hearing this, Chen Feng no longer concealed his murderous intent. I came to do business with you, yet you try to set me up? Isn't that absurd? Do you truly take me for a pushover? You can need it well. One last chance, either deliver what I'm owed to my hands, or I'll take it myself. Facing the weapon pressed against his forehead, Chen Feng remained utterly unfazed, as if completely fearless. The man paused, stunned, clearly not expecting Chen Feng to defy death so boldly. FK, since you seek death, ill granted. The man didn't hesitate. In their world, eliminating someone was simplicity itself, especially when that someone was from another country. Yet just as he prepared to act, he suddenly felt the ground vanish beneath his feet, and in an instant he plunged into Chen Feng's spatial void. Lunatic, always stirring trouble. Do you really think I'm easy prey? Any living being falling into Chen Feng's space would perish instantly. Of course, no matter when retrieved, the body would remain fresh and warm. He could open spatial rifts within a 3-meter radius. Threatening him was no different from courting death. Without hesitation, he swept the weapons before him into his space. This arsenal, nearly a warehouse full, was more than sufficient. Yet Chen Feng wasted no time seeking Yi Tian's help to locate nearby arms dealers. Don't act rashly. I can't assist with this. Pursuing it will lead to disaster. Yi Tian flatly refused, knowing that being caught could cost him his life. These people once bullied us, humiliating our Shenzhou. In merely reclaiming some interest for our nation, then what are we waiting for? Let's go. I know a local big shot with stockpiles far larger than this. Chen Feng shook his head. Just give me his location. This isn't something you should be involved in. Though the apocalypse was imminent, Chen Feng didn't want Yi Tian to end up in jail in his final days. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. I know a local big shot with stockpiles far larger than this. Chen Feng shook his head. Just give me his location. This place was far more extravagant than the last, with guards stationed all around. After surveying the surroundings, Chen Feng began digging a tunnel from the grass 500 meters from the warehouse. He could open his spatial portal underground, sucking in soil, and even cut through rock with ease, storing it all. During the apocalypse, it was this very skill that had allowed him to protect his family, well, even in the harshest conditions. Had it not been for Su Qing's betrayal, he wouldn't have died. Silently tunneling into the warehouse, Chen Feng's eyes widened at the sight before him. The weapons here far surpassed that old bastard's stash. Not just common AK-47s, but RPGs, and even the egalitarian Gatling guns. With these I can form a formidable team in the apocalypse. Chen Feng marveled. Even against ability users, he could put up a fight with this arsenal. Without delay, Chen Feng collected every weapon in the place and retreated through the tunnel. He even remembered to fill the tunnel back in. Next stop, supplies. Murmuring to himself, he bid Yi Tian farewell and set off toward his planned destination. Before leaving, he reminded Yi Tian to stock up urgently. They were on good terms, so a word of caution was owed. 3 hours later, Chen Feng arrived at the Walmart warehouse, and using the same tactic, dug a tunnel direct. The supplies here were all-encompassing. Without exaggeration, everything needed for food, clothing, shelter, and daily life could be found. This time Chen Feng didn't act rashly. The warehouses were bustling with workers during the day, so he waited until nightfall, when all was quiet, before emerging from the ground. Pots, pans, fruits, vegetables, meats, seafood, clothes, pants. He swept them all into his space, without hesitation. Wherever he passed, it was like a plague of locusts, leaving only empty shelves. Who goes there? Stop! Despite his stealth, a guard spotted him. The supplies belong to the company, your life belongs to you. Understand? Chen Feng aimed his weapon at the guard, who nearly wet himself in terror. Understood, understood. The man nodded frantically. Who wouldn't get the message when their life was on the line? After knocking him out, Chen Feng continued his zero-cost shopping. Having emptied the Walmart warehouse, he wasted no time and raced to the Amazon warehouse that very night. Food, clothing, supplies, entertainment. In a single night, Chen Feng had amassed it all. Passing by a military base, he even snagged 5 tanks and a fleet of tracked vehicles. While inventorying his loot, he discovered a pile of snowmobiles and lamented bitterly, feeling cheated. Had he known such items could be acquired for free in the States, he would never have bought them from Thunder Modification Shop. Wasn't that a sheer waste of money? These made outfits, school uniforms, and stockings of various colors aren't bad. Someone will surely need them later. Chen Feng laughed like a pig. After the apocalypse, with his vast supplies, winning over a few goddesses would be a breeze. I can take women, but I must handle it carefully. Never keep them close unless necessary. He muttered, the memory of Su Qing's betrayal still vivid. He was strong, but even the mighty could fall to his. Let's grab some fresh water, then head home. With that thought, Chen Feng sped off toward the U.S. reservoir. The next day, the entire country was in an uproar. Chaos erupted everywhere in Florida. The warehouses of Walmart and Amazon were completely emptied, all in a single night. Everyone was utterly bewildered. Even if they used trucks to haul the goods, it would have taken days. Yet their warehouses were stripped clean in just one night. The high-ranking officials of the country took this matter very seriously, but unfortunately, they found nothing. Not only the warehouses, but they also discovered a reservoir that had completely dried up overnight. Oh my God, is God punishing us? No, it's not God. I'm a Walmart employee and I know what happened that night. It was one person who moved everything. On a forum in Florida, the middle-aged man said hurriedly, "One person? Have you been drinking cheap booze? How can one person move so much stuff?" A crowd of people chimed in to mock him. It was impossible for just one person, even by common sense. The entire country's internet exploded as experts and professors rushed to investigate the paranormal event. But clearly they couldn't find any clues for the time being. Meanwhile, Yi Tian sat at home, trembling with fear. He felt a bit dazed. Although there was no direct evidence, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was connected to Chen Feng. The fact that the latter had come to the country to find him and asked for weapons was not something a normal person would do. On his phone, Chen Feng had sent him a message telling him to stock up on supplies for winter. If things got really tough, he could dig 2 meters down in his bedroom, where Chen Feng had left something for him. Yi Tian naturally had no idea what Chen Feng meant by this, but all seemed utterly baffling. As for the protagonist of this series of events, he had already boarded the plane home. He had no worries about whatever happened next in that country. Even if they found him out, there wouldn't be enough time left for them to cause him trouble. As for Yi Tian, he had done what he could. Whether he could survive the coming days was up to fate. Returning to his residence, Chen Feng lay down on the bed and slept for an entire day. After all the turmoil in that country, he was truly exhausted. Once he had rested, Chen Feng fell back into a busy routine, constantly ordering food delivery. When the city's takeout vendors saw Chen Feng placing orders, they were all thrilled. Their big client, their living bodhisattva, was back. Meanwhile, Lin Feier clutched her phone, her face full of unwillingness. What do you mean your restaurant's deliveries are all booked up too? How is that possible? There's nothing we can do. If he's willing to pay, we can't refuse him. Hanging up the phone, Lin Feier stomped her foot in anger. She had called so many places but couldn't order a single meal. It was as if all the takeout in the city had been booked out by Chen Feng alone. That scumbag. This is a blood feud over takeout. Don't let me catch a chance. Lin Feier clenched her fists and punched the air a few times in frustration. In the end, she had no choice but to head to the supermarket. Since she couldn't order takeout, she had to buy ingredients and cook herself. Chen Feng watched the growing pile of deliveries, feeling an increasing sense of security. In the past few days, he had spent over 20 million on food alone, and the rate was accelerating. Yet he didn't care about the rapid drain of money. Soon enough, this money would become worthless paper. Exchanging it for food was the best move. I need to stock up on more action movies. Thinking of how the snow would completely lock down the world, leaving him with plenty of time watching action movies to learn some skills, was also very important. Of course, besides movies, Chen Feng was also downloading games separately. While he was busy with this, Li Bingyao called to say the snowmobiles had arrived, and she was bringing them over. Chen Feng sent her his location. About half an hour later, Li Bingyao arrived with her people. She was wearing a very form-fitting dress complete with stockings and high heels, which perfectly accentuated. It was clear she had dressed up meticulously for this visit. Chen Feng smiled, not hiding his gaze as his eyes roamed over her. Compared to Zhao Qian, Li Bingyao was truly on a whole different level of beauty. She completely outshone her in both figure and looks. Mr. Chen, please take a look at these snowmobiles. If there's any issue, feel free to let me know. Feeling Chen Feng's gaze, Li Bingyao wasn't repulsed. Instead, she puffed out her chest, feeling secretly pleased. I trust you to handle things. Just have them unloaded and put into the warehouse. Li Bingyao promptly directed the workers. As they were unloading, Su Qing and Wang Hao arm in arm walked out of the elevator not far away. Tisk, 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 this G-Wagon looks so imposing. Wang Hao had clearly seen Chen Feng, but completely ignored him. He led Su Qing over to admire the car. They were obviously showing off, deliberately trying to spite Chen Feng. Honey, I'll take you for a ride in it sometime. Wang Hao's eyes sparkled with desire. This car was way cooler than the sports car he had his eye on. I doubt you'll ever get that chance. Chen Feng sneered, his smile unconcealed. Chen Feng, if you give me the car and the villa now, I'll leave you with $1 million. Otherwise, you won't get a single cent. Su Qing's attitude was extremely tough, her chin raised arrogantly. If you think you can go ahead and take them. Chen Feng said with utter contempt. But it looks like your little scheme is about to fail. Fail. We've already hired a lawyer. Soon all your assets will be awarded to us. Wang Hao was insufferably arrogant, feeling he had reached the peak of his life. What, you want me to break your other arm? Wang Hao flinched and quickly stepped back, putting distance between himself and Chen Feng. You loser, you won't be arrogant for much longer. I've given you a chance. Don't be ungrateful. Once the time is up, even if you get on your knees and beg me, I won't give you a single cent. Su Qing spoke coldly. Who do you think you are offering me money? What a joke. Everything your family eats, wears, and uses, didn't I provide it all? What right do you have to say that? Chen Feng laughed heartily. With your pathetic tricks, you think you can take my money. You're hopeless. We'll see about that. Just as Su Qing was about to leave, her phone rang. Seeing it was the lawyer, she was overjoyed and quickly answered. Lawyer Huang, how is it? Has Chen Feng's money been completely frozen? Su Qing's voice rose several octaves as she gloated, shooting a provocative look at Chen Feng. Miss Su, I'm terribly sorry. I've just checked, and you won't be able to claim a single cent of Chen Feng's money or profit. What? Su Qing and Wang Hao, who had been brimming with smugness, suddenly turned pale as they roared into their phones. Lawyer Huang, don't joke with us about something like this. Yes. He signed an agreement to leave with nothing. Why can't we take the money back? We're perfectly. Wang Hao was extremely unwilling to let go of the money. How could he? It was nearly 200 million in cash, a house worth 100 million, and cars worth millions. None of these things could he ever earn through labor. Chen Feng watched them with a grin, as if enjoying a show. Before him, the two were like clowns, every move they made utterly ridiculous. I've already checked. Chen Feng's money wasn't marital property. Lawyer Huang's voice came through the phone, twisting Su Qing's expression into a snarl. You're talking nonsense. With so much money, if it's not marital property, did he earn it after the divorce? Anyone with a brain would know it couldn't have been earned after the divorce. Who could make hundreds of millions in just a few days after a divorce? Lawyer Huang, could it be that Chen Feng paid you off to trick us? Wang Hao's tone turned sour, suspecting this. I hope you'll speak properly. I am a man of principle. Lawyer Huang replied with clear displeasure. This can be verified through proper channels. I have no reason to deceive you. That money was earned by Chen Feng in these past few days. On the day of your divorce, Chen Feng received 5 million. I couldn't trace the source, but the next day, he spent 200,000 on an antique and sold it for 200 million. There's evidence for all of this. What? Su Qing's face grew even more shocked. She looked at Chen Feng in disbelief. What he had done completely shattered her impression of him. No, he must have transferred the assets in advance. That's it. Wang Hao roared in frustration. Who would believe this? And since when did Chen Feng know anything about antiques? We lawyers work with evidence, Miss Su. This lawsuit isn't worth pursuing. You have no chance of winning. With that, Lawyer Huang hung up, leaving the two dumbfounded. What did I tell you? Do you believe me now? Chen Feng sneered at them, his heart brimming with delight. You must be behind this, aren't you? You can't fool me. Give me back the money. Wang Hao strode over and grabbed Chen Feng by the collar, his eyes bloodshot and his expression ferocious. He was truly unwilling to accept losing the fortune and the mansion he had nearly obtained. It was a psychological blow he couldn't easily stomach. Are you asking for another beating? Chen Feng slapped his hand away. Beside him, Su Qing gritted her teeth. Did you know from the start that the antique would be worth 200 million? She felt that was the only explanation. How else could Chen Feng have stumbled upon a priceless antique right after the divorce? Yes. You're so cruel. You were planning the divorce all along. I was blind to marry you. Su Qing cursed in utter frustration. Chen Feng was genuinely amazed at her audacity. How shameless. Even now she was blaming him. I'm not as malicious as you think. I originally planned to tell you about a treasure ID found. But who would have guessed I'd come home to find you two rolling in bed? Since things had come this far, Chen Feng didn't mind adding fuel to the fire. I wanted to bring it home and make you a wealthy woman, give you a good life. But who knew you'd be so cheap as to hook up with a loser? Who are you calling a loser? Chen Feng, don't get cocky or ill. Slap. Without a second thought, Chen Feng slapped him across the face. You want my money? Sorry, you miscalculated. Wang Hao was furious, but dared not speak another word. He was no match for Chen Feng, especially with a broken arm. Su Qing was filled with regret. The situation now made her sick with remorse. Why did she have to get involved with Wang Hao at such a critical moment? She had been so close to becoming a wealthy wife, never wanting for money again. But now she had fallen to this. Mr. Chen, I've unloaded everything for you. Li Bingyao emerged with workers holding some documents as she approached Chen Feng. She deliberately stood close to him, acting intimate. She had heard every word between Chen Feng and Su Qing and thought the woman was utterly shameless. Good. I have some documents at home. Care to come over? Sure, I actually have something to discuss with you. Li Bing, watching them walk away, Wang Hao was seething. No, you have to find a way to get the money back. It should be ours. Wang Hao turned to Su Qing, unable to stand seeing Chen Feng doing so well. How dare you say that now? If you hadn't started trouble at home, would have a fortune by now. Su Qing lashed out at Wang Hao in regret. She truly regretted being with him. But it was too late for that now. Without further delay, she hurried back to her place to figure out how to handle the situation. Meanwhile, Chen Feng took Li Bingyao back to his place, and naturally they did what adults do. Her agreement to come already said enough. She had wanted to land this wealthy man from the start. She had almost thrown herself at him at the auto shop. As for Chen Feng, he wasn't about to turn down a beautiful woman who came to him willingly. Li Bingyao was far more stunning than Su Qing or Zhao Qian. Even Xiao Lulu couldn't compare in looks and figure. She had a natural charm like a vixen. Her voice was so sweet it could melt bones. Oh, you're so mean. You tore my stockings. What am I supposed? Li Bingyao nestled shyly in Chen Feng's arms, playfully pounding his chest with her fists. I'd love to be gentle, but you were crazier than me just now. Chen Feng looked at her innocently. In ancient times, she would have been a femme fatale who brought down kingdoms. Don't say that. Li Bingyao was about to retort when her eyes widened in shock as she stared at Chen Feng. How are you? Chen Feng chuckled and pounced again. You little vixen, take this. What do you mean? We won't get a single cent. Are you kidding us? How is that possible? Curses echoed through the Su family home. Su Dahua and his wife were already throwing tables in rage. How could anyone stay calm when a fortune suddenly vanished? I wish I were lying. Su Qing smiled bitterly. She hadn't expected things to turn out this way either. Chen Feng's money was all earned after the divorce. Without proper evidence, we have no claim to his wealth. Who could have imagined that Chen Feng would make hundreds of millions in just a few days after the divorce? No normal person could achieve such a feat. Look at the stupid things you've done. Even if you had to cheat, you couldn't have picked a worse time. Su Dahua vented his fury on Su Qing. This was hundreds of millions, a sum most people could never earn in several lifetimes. And because of Su Qing's foolishness, they had let it slip through their fingers. Su Qing was full of resentment. How could this be her fault? It was clearly Chen Feng who chose the worst time to return. Exactly, sis. If we can't get that money back, Qian will never marry me. Su Jiqiang couldn't help but complain from the side. This was a huge matter. Given the current situation, it was only a matter of time before Zhao Qian broke up with him. Quick, call the lawyer again. No matter how much it costs, we'll pay. Just get the money back. Right? That lawyer's not helping because we didn't offer enough. Su Dahua and his wife nodded repeatedly. Hearing this, Su Qing said nothing more and took out her phone again. In Lawyer Huang's office, he stared at his phone in exasperation. Lawyer Huang, is it really impossible? I'm 25, my 75-year-old wife died. Can't my 48-year-old son support me? No. How many times do I have to tell you? You're 25, go get a job. Stop dreaming up. Lawyer Huang hung up in frustration. He had seen all kinds of people, but this was a new low. No sooner had he hung up than Su Qing called. Lawyer Huang was utterly speechless. Lawyer Huang, even though Chen Feng and I are divorced, how can I get his money back? You must have a way, right? No, it's impossible now. Unless you have a child. Then you might claim some money through the child. Hearing this, Su Qing was overjoyed and spoke excitedly. I do have a child. I'm pregnant. Lawyer Huang breathed a sigh of relief. That shouldn't be a problem. At least she could get something. But Lawyer Huang, this child isn't Chen Feng's. Will that affect the money distribution? Lawyer Huang. What the hell? So you cheated, got pregnant with another man's child, and now that your ex-husband is rich, you want to take his money. What kind of person is this? Has she no shame? He genuinely felt sorry for Chen Feng having to deal with such a shameless wife. You can't get a cent from him. Don't even think about it. Lawyer Huang, isn't there any way? I can pay you more, name your price. Su Qing grew frantic. It's not about the money. The only way is to remarry him. Otherwise you won't get a single penny from him. The call ended. Lawyer Huang didn't want any further contact with Su Qing. Such a shameless person. Back with Su Qing, her family's eyes were all fixed on her. How did it go? Can we do it? Su Jiqiang pressed urgently. Without money, Zhao Qian would break up with. Su Qing shook her head helplessly and said dejectedly, no. Unless I remarry him, even the lawyer can't help. Hearing this, Su Dahua and his wife eagerly urged her. Then hurry up. If remarrying can get the money back, what are we waiting for? Ma Zuelon quickly handed over. Quick, call him. If you say a few nice words, how could that simp Chen Feng refuse? Right? Well, forgive him for humiliating us and hitting Jiqiang. As long as you remarry, well, treat him better. Maybe even give him a little extra allowance each month. The family discussed it, and Su Qing quickly dialed the number. This was hundreds of millions. If she could get it back, losing a bit of face was nothing. Soon the call connected. But as soon as it did, Su Qing's brows furrowed. On the other end, there were unmistakable sounds of heavy breathing. They were all adults. Just hearing it, she knew exactly what was happening. Chen Feng, what's the meaning of this? You went to get documents and ended up in bed with that bitch. Su Qing screamed into the phone. She had seen that female salesperson, more beautiful and with a better figure than hers. She couldn't compete. They had genuinely gone to get the documents, but who knew she would be so shameless? Are you out of your mind? I'll be with whoever I want. You have no right to control me. Chen Feng was beyond words. Was Su Qing completely delusional? He regretted it now, wondering how he could have been so foolish as to marry her. Maybe you should finish what you're doing first. Li Bingio's face was flushed with embarrassment. Chen Feng was too much, still in the middle of things, and answering a phone call. It's fine. Let's continue. Don't let an irrelevant person ruin our mood. Chen Feng said nonchalantly, while Su Qing was already seething with rage. Rage surged to her head, but she forced herself to hold it in. Just wait until I get the money. Then you'll see. Chen Feng, I still love you. All these years of feelings can't just disappear. If you're willing to remarry me, I can forgive you for being with another woman today. Zhao Qian forced a smile, trying to make her voice as gentle as possible. Chen Feng, however, was utterly worth hundreds of millions now. Why would you think I'd be interested in a woman who cheated and is carrying another man's child? With all this money, I can have anyone I want. Remarry you. Raise another man's child for him. Do I look like a fool to you? Chen Feng finished and hung up. He was truly disgusted by Su Qing. Su Qing hung up, and Su Dahua and the others crowded around, asking what happened. He's hooking up with some car saleswoman. What? That shameless bastard. Let's go find him. Without a second thought, Su Dahua and his wife rushed out the door. With hundreds of millions at stake, how could they? Shouldn't you rest a bit? Watching Li Bingyao slowly dressing herself, Chen Feng couldn't resist pulling her into his arms. The girl seemed utterly exhausted, her movements sluggish. I still have to go to work. Can't you skip work? If I skip work, will you support me? Chen Feng gazed at Li Bingyao, whose eyes were seductive and face full of grievance, and couldn't help but smile. That's not impossible. With the apocalypse imminent, he had stockpiled so much that supporting one person was no issue. Of course, Chen Feng would never give her the chance to ambush him like Su Qing had in the past. It was better to live alone in his own safe house. Li Bingyao laughed, her whole body trembling. I don't want you to support me. You rich people never tell the truth. Li Bingyao wasn't foolish at all. She had intended to win Chen Feng over from the start, but she never truly thought about being with him forever. Dating a rich man like him was fine, but entrusting her life to him would be too naive. Alright, I'll drive you. Chen Feng didn't dwell on the topic. Having lived 2 lives, he understood her implication well. Just as they finished getting ready to leave, a loud banging came from the door. The noise was thunderous, as if the door was about to be smashed in. You shameless bastard, open the door. Su Dahua was furious. How could Chen Feng spend the money that should have been theirs on another woman? Who could tolerate that? Your troublemakers are here. Li Bingyao looked at Chen Feng with concern. It's nothing, just a few lunatics. Chen Feng snorted coldly, went to the bathroom to fill a bucket of water, carried it to the door, and flung it out as splash. Su Dahua and his wife, who had been cursing loudly, were drenched to the bone. Though it was summer, the sudden bucket of cold water caught them off guard. Chen Feng, you bastard. How dare you throw cold water on me? Are you rebelling? Ma Zuelon, looking like a drowned rat, trembled with rage. Isn't this what you deserve? Banging on someone's door out of the blue. You had it coming. You. Ma Zuelon was fuming. When she spotted Li Bingyao behind Chen Feng, her fury escalated, and she began to hurl curses. You shameless wretch, keeping a vixen outside. Have you no conscience toward my daughter? Everyone come see. This scumbag abandoned my daughter and keeps a mistress. Ma Zuelon started her usual tantrum, rolling on the ground, but Chen Feng didn't indulge her. He fetched another bucket of water and doused her again. You. Is there no justice? Justice? Your daughter cheated and got pregnant with someone else's child, and you still want to take my money. Do you really think I'm an idiot? Chen Feng sneered. If you keep making a scene, I'll gladly cool you down again. With that, he moved to fetch more water, sending Su Dahua and his wife scrambling away in panic. They were classic bullies who preyed on the weak, expecting to intimidate Chen Feng, but never anticipated such ruthlessness. He was nothing like the pathetic pushover they used to bully. Not far away, Su Qing watched the scene, clenching her fists as she made a decision. She had to get an abortion. Once she did, she could remarry Chen Feng and enjoy a life of luxury. Meanwhile, after dropping Li Bingyao off at her shop, Chen Feng transferred 1,000,000 yuan to her account. Overjoyed, she rewarded him with a passionate kiss on the spot. Leaving the shop, Chen Feng continued his shopping spree, driving his big G to various restaurants. At the same time, he scouted the area to familiarize himself with the surroundings. Before the apocalypse, there would be a wave of looting. He planned to visit bookstores, then, as knowledge was the spiritual sustenance of humanity. He also noted gas stations and other key spots. Stockpiling fuel would ensure he had energy during. Medicine was also a top priority. In the post-apocalyptic world, any injury could be fatal, so he needed ample medical supplies. Fortunately, the area was packed with pharmacies. They were everywhere. On the night before the apocalypse, he could definitely gather enough medicine. They'll see if I can find a doctor. Otherwise, having medicine would be useless. Chen Feng had planned everything meticulously, even making a detailed list. Her voice was so sweet it could melt bones. Oh, you're so mean. You tore my stockings. What am I supposed to wear now? The call came. Yes, send them to the warehouse. They'll be back soon. After clearing out another store, Chen Feng leisurely drew. A team was bustling about, handling the massive delivery with great care. Ma'am, please don't take those. They're Mr. Chen's order. If you take them home, I won't know how to explain. At the warehouse entrance, a hotel manager was arguing with an old woman and a child, his face full of frustration. Beside the old woman, a bratty kid was gnawing on a drumstick. That was bad enough, but the old woman herself was carrying 2 braised pork elbows. Clearly, they had taken them from Chen Feng's order. The moment Chen Feng saw this, his face darkened. Taking advantage of him. This old woman, surnamed Zhou, had a terrible reputation in the neighborhood, always freeloading thanks to her thug son. Everyone in the community resented her, but dared not speak up. In his past life, after the apocalypse, her family committed many heartless acts, and her son even killed several people to assert dominance. Chen Feng had suffered under their oppression too. What are you yelling about? I just took 2 elbows. My grandson eating a drumstick is no big deal. There's so much food here he can't finish it all. Old Mrs. Zhou snorted sharply, her sour expression leaving everyone speechless. Anyone watching would think she was taking her own things. Leave the things behind. Chen Feng approached, his expression grim and tone displeased. In his past life, he had been bullied by this old hag and her family. There was no reason to let her push him around now. Xiaochen, what do you mean by that? Old Mrs. Zhou looked aggrieved. You ordered all this food, and it's probably for a banquet anyway. I just took 2 elbows, it's not much. Don't be so stingy. You're making it seem like I'm taking huge advantage of you. I'm truly sorry, but I never planned on treating anyone to this meal. Chen Feng showed no regard for her. This old woman was utterly shameless. If the apocalypse hadn't arrived yet, he would have slapped her a few times without hesitation. What are you doing? I only took a couple of dishes from you. You have so much of what's the harm in giving me a few. Old Lady Zhou, with dissatisfaction written all over her face, raised her chin and said, "I'm the head of the neighborhood committee. Let's just be friends." Her tone was brimming with pride as she spoke. Crazy. Chen Feng was speechless. Did this woman really think she was someone important? Grandma, I want lobster. I want the big lobster. The chubby boy took 2 bites of the chicken leg, then threw it on the ground, pointing at the large lobster not far away. All right, if you want to eat, go get it yourself. Uncle Chen has so much food, he won't mind. Old Lady Zhou completely ignored Chen Feng. Trying to guilt-trip me. Chen Feng sneered coldly. You've picked the wrong person. Seeing the little fatty reaching for the lobster, Chen Feng didn't hesitate and slapped his hand away. If you want lobster, tell your grandma to buy it. The little fatty, undeterred by the slap, tried to reach out again. This was the neighborhood's most detestable brat, and with Old Lady Zhou's son being a thug, everyone avoided the child. But Chen Feng showed no restraint. He picked up the brat, handed him directly to Old Lady Zhou, and snatched back the pig trotter she was holding. Chen Feng, what do you mean by this? He's just a child, how much can he eat? Old Lady Zhou, furious, cursed at him. With a miser like you, no wonder your wife ran off with another man. You deserve it. If you want to eat, go buy it yourself. Always trying to take advantage of others. How shameless can you be? You. Old Lady Zhou, unable to out-argue Chen Feng, left with her grandson after muttering, just wait and see. Clearly she was plotting her revenge. Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry about the food. It's fine, it's not your fault. Chen Feng casually tossed the trotter to a big black dog not far away. This scene happened to be witnessed by Old Lady Zhou, who hadn't gone far. Her gaze grew even more venomous. You'd rather feed it to a dog than give it to me. Just you wait. Old Lady Zhou returned to her home fuming. Her eyes darted around as she schemed. After a long while, she sneered and took out her phone to post a message in the owners group. Fellow owners, the owner of Villa No. 3 has gone too far. The renovation noise day and night has severely affected our daily lives. Shouldn't we do something about this? As the neighborhood committee busybody, though many disliked her, there were still quite a few who responded to her call. Yes, this is indeed excessive. They don't even rest at night. It's too disruptive. We should go talk to him properly. If that doesn't work, well, just report him. Seeing the responses, Old Lady Zhou grinned smugly and quickly sent a voice message. I went to talk to him about it today, but he, relying on his money, didn't take it seriously and even scolded me. Everyone be the judge. I'm doing this for the common good of all residents. After sending it, the corners of her mouth curled up in a sly smile. Kid, you want to mess with me? You're still too green. So what if you're rich? They'll make sure you can't live peacefully in this neighborhood. As expected, her words garnered support from many. This is outrageous. Does money give him the right to do whatever he wants? Report him. We must get them to stop work. Actually, I don't think it's that big a deal. It was only noisy on the first day. I haven't heard much sound since. Someone couldn't help but speak up for fairness. Clearly not everyone saw Old Lady Zhou as a champion of justice. In fact, the construction was only noisy on the first day. After that, the noise was minimal. Old Lady Zhou was just making a mountain out of a molehill. You live far away, what do you know? Defending him at a time like this, are you trying to suck up to him? Old Lady Zhou ranted and raved, sending voice messages in frustration, effectively silencing the other person. Who could win an argument against this old shrew? Su Dahua and his wife, seeing the group in an uproar, also couldn't resist chiming in with curses. They harbored a deep hatred for Chen Feng. This matter needs a resolution today. The community environment requires our collective effort to maintain. Old Lady Zhou said, directly tagging Chen Feng. Little punk, trying to compete with me. You're still wet behind the ears. Meanwhile, Chen Feng had just stored all the food in his space and was lying down at home when his phone buzzed with a notification. He picked up his phone to check the messages. Good grief, that Old Lady Zhou had somehow turned him into the entire neighborhood's public enemy. This old hag is truly despicable. Chen Feng started typing furiously. Old Lady Zhou, what's your game? Just now your little brat was caught stealing from me, and now you're retaliating. Old Lady Zhou, incensed by Chen Feng's direct accusation, lost her temper. You're talking nonsense. My grandson just took a lobster. Do you have to make such a big fuss? He's just a child. The child doesn't know any better, but you should. Why don't you teach him? Don't change the subject. Your construction is disturbing the whole neighborhood. You owe everyone an explanation. Chen Feng didn't beat around the bush. He sent a voice message. Dear neighbors, I admit the renovation was my fault. I was rushing the deadline. How about this? I'll send each of you a red envelope of 2,000 yuan as an apology. Chen Feng's words stunned everyone in the group. There were 500 people in the group. 2,000 each meant he was giving away 1,000,000 yuan. Was he that loaded? Anyone can brag. Old Lady Zhou's sarcastic voice message had barely been sent when a red envelope appeared in the group. Clearly it was from Chen Feng. Without hesitation she clicked on it. Why pass up a good deal? But when she opened it she found she couldn't claim the red envelope. Chen Feng, what's the meaning of this? Why can't I claim the red envelope? Old Lady Zhou immediately started cursing. Chen Feng sneered. What did it mean? Of course he had said it, so she couldn't claim it. Did she think he was stupid? Besides Old Lady Zhou's family, Su Qing's family was also blocked from claiming the red envelope. Chen Feng, don't think money makes you special. We're not done with you disturbing the neighborhood. I don't think their renovation is noisy. Old Lady Zhou, maybe your old ears are playing tricks on you. As soon as Old Lady Zhou finished speaking, people started siding with Chen Feng. Yeah, Old Lady Zhou, mister. Chen hasn't done anything wrong. Why do you keep picking on him? Damn, are you all that spineless? Old Madame Zhou's face instantly froze in shock. Wasn't this just ridiculous? Just a second ago, everyone was here helping her denounce Chen Feng, but the next moment, they all turned around and spoke up for him. Where was their shame? Don't you twist your conscience to speak for Chen Feng here. If you don't deal with this problem, now it will affect all of you. Old Madame Zhou said, her voice dark and heavy. Old Madame Zhou, don't drag us into this. I live near Villa No. 3, and I never heard a thing. Don't talk nonsense. Exactly. Mister. Chen has already handled this quite properly. Your renovations were a noisy mess for over 2 months, and when I came to remind you, you scolded me. His only lasted a day. What's the big deal? At these words, the group in the chat seemed to recall their own bitter experiences, and one by one they voiced their indignation. Old Madame Zhou was a classic case of do as I say, not as I do, and few were satisfied with her. Even if a few had spoken up for her earlier after receiving Chen Feng's red packets, they all fell silent. No helping it. Chen Feng knew how to win people over. Who would turn down money? Watching the one-sided comments, Chen Feng was inwardly delighted. Trying to mess with me. You're still green. Old Madame Zhou, how about you send a red packet to apologize too? Send my ass. You want me to send red packets? Are you out of your mind? Old Madame Zhou cursed at her phone. She refused to believe she couldn't deal with Chen Feng. Just wait. You'll fall into my hands sooner or later. Shut up. What do you know? Old Madame Zhou flew into a rage. If you're not going to help me deal with that bastard, don't cause trouble here. Get lost and cook dinner. Dust. Shut up. What do you know? Old Madame Zhou flew into a rage. If you're not going to help me deal with that bastard, don't cause trouble here. Get lost and cook dinner. Qin Yin wanted to argue further, but ultimately sighed in resignation and turned into the kitchen. Useless thing, sickening to look at. With a displeased expression, Old Madame Zhou picked up her phone and began plotting again, determined to find a way to handle Chen Feng. How infuriating. That bastard sent out 1 million in red packets. All our money. Su Dahua and his wife clutched their phones, beating their chests in anguish. Beside them, Su Qing's face was a mix of bitterness. This money should have been hers, yet Chen Feng had just handed it out to the neighbors. He would rather give it to those neighbors than to her. Not even their family could claim a red packet. Wasn't this just a slap in the face? No, the reason he won't remarry me is that I'm carrying Wang Hao's child. Su Qing's gaze grew more resolute. Tomorrow, I'll get an abortion. Then those billions will be mine. At Lin Feier's home, Xiao Lulu stared at the owner's group chat on her phone, her little heart pounding wildly. She had originally just come to stay with Lin Feier for a while, but after meeting Chen Feng, she had pestered Lin Feier to join the group, hoping to learn more about him. She never expected to witness this scene. Buying 100 million mansion and multi-million luxury cars was one thing, but directly sending 1 million in red packets in the group. This was the kind of lavish generosity only a top-tier tycoon could display. She had to win him over. Then she wouldn't have to struggle as a blissed actress for the rest of her life. Xiao Lulu made up her mind. If she could land Chen Feng, she'd never have to endure a miserable existence. In the days that followed, Chen Feng continued to stockpile prepared foods diligently. The culinary skills of a hotel star chef would be hard to come by once the apocalypse arrived. Of course, he didn't overlook street stalls and barbecue stands either. After indulging in rich fare, a bit of junk food and gutter oil would be a welcome treat. Each day, he woke up to stockpile goods, and when tired, he rested with Li Bingyao in his arms. Life was fulfilling. 10 days flew by in a flash, and Chen Feng had initially doubted the villa renovations could be finished on time. But he had underestimated the allure of money. To earn that extra 100 million Gao Ming Yuan had summoned everyone from his company, working around the clock in 3 shifts, and finally completed the work on schedule. In fact, if not for the cleaning, Gao Ming Yuan was confident he could have finished half a day earlier. When Chen Feng arrived at the villa, the place had been completely transformed, built exactly to his specifications. The entire estate had become a steel fortress. Mr. Chen, we've tested the villa's sturdiness. Against walls reinforced with titanium alloy steel plates, not even armor-piercing rounds or bombs could cause any damage. I can see that. Not bad. Chen Feng nodded with great satisfaction, pointing inside the villa. What about the various circulation systems inside? Gao Mingyuan immediately patted his chest in assurance. Mr. Chen, rest assured. We've added new insulation materials inside the walls capable of withstanding extreme cold. There's a heating system, an air filtration system, an independent diesel generator, a fireplace, and even a water purification system. Chen Feng inspected the interior. He had to admit professional work required professional hands. Not only had they met all his requirements, but the interior decoration had also been done tastefully, remaining luxurious. Good, I'm very satisfied. The money will be transferred to your company account right away. Without any delay, Chen Feng promptly transferred 100 million. The remaining 100 million he'll pay according to the contract. No issues, right? Gao Mingyuan nodded excitedly. He had rarely met such a straightforward client as Chen Feng. By the way, get me some more diesel generators. I want them as backups. As he saw Gao Mingyuan to the gate, Chen Feng suddenly spoke up. Mr. Chen, we've already arranged 2 diesel generators for you. Even if one fails, the other will be sufficient. Just do as I say. He'll buy them at market price. Though Gao Mingyuan didn't understand why Chen Feng needed so many diesel generators, he wasn't about to pass up a profitable deal and agreed immediately. After Gao Mingyuan left, Chen Feng gazed at the villa before him and finally felt a sense of relief. From now on, even if the outside world turned into a frozen wasteland, he wouldn't have to worry. Chen Feng, is your villa renovation already done? Just then Xiao Lulu approached from not far away, clearly having been waiting. Today she wore a very revealing tank top showcasing her fiery figure, and her long legs were hard to look at. I paid extra to rush the work. Can you give me a tour inside? Seeing Xiao Lulu's coy demeanor, Chen Feng curled his lips. A tour of the house? Do you even believe that yourself? I won't bother calling you out on it. Chen Feng naturally knew exactly why Xiao Lulu was here. She simply wanted to seize the opportunity to win him over and become the mistress of this villa. Using one's looks to climb the social ladder was the most common tactic in her circle. Judging by the advanced tea artistry she displayed, Xiao Lulu had undoubtedly pulled such stunts countless times before, otherwise she wouldn't be so adept at it. Adhering to the principle that one shouldn't refuse a favor offered for free, Chen Feng didn't hesitate and agreed directly. Fine, you can tour however you like. Really? Xiao Lulu was overjoyed. She reached out and hooked her arm around Chen Feng's, utterly unconcerned about the immense pressure pressing against him. To be honest, I've always adored this decorating style. I'd love to take this chance to exchange ideas with you, Mr. Chen Feng's face remained impassive, but his heart raced uncontrollably. Xiao Lulu might not match Li Bingyao in looks or figure, but her tea artistry was truly eye-opening. All right, let's have a good exchange. As Chen Feng spoke and prepared to lead Xiao Lulu back into the villa, a figure rushed over from outside, blocking their path at an inopportune moment. Chen Feng, what do you think you're doing? Su Qing's face was filled with fury, her eyes harboring undisguised hostility towards Xiao Lulu. What am I doing? I'm going back to my own home, and you ask me that? How ridiculous. Chen Feng sneered at Su Qing, provocatively wrapping his arm around Xiao Lulu's waist. Xiao Lulu, proving herself a top-tier tea artist, instantly grasped the situation. She leaned intimately against Chen Feng's shoulder and said with a sarcastic tone, Chen Feng, who's this older lady? Seeing the stunning Xiao Lulu by Chen Feng's side had already infuriated Su Qing, but being called older lady pushed her rage to the breaking point. Get lost. I'm talking to my husband. What right do you have to interrupt, you slut? Most people would have cowered in such a situation, but Xiao Lulu was no ordinary woman. Instead of getting angry, she laughed heartily, her body shaking with amusement. Calling me a slut? I wonder who the real slut is. Having an affair while married, getting pregnant by another man, and expecting your husband to raise the child, then scheming to leave him penniless when you're found out. Compared to you, I'm truly outclassed. You? Su Qing's face darkened like a storm cloud. After racking her brains for a retort and finding none, she could only turn her gaze to Chen Feng. Honey, I know you're angry, and I know I was wrong. Can we stop fighting? Don't call me honey. I can't bear. Chen Feng quickly pushed away Su Qing as she tried to grab him. Honey, I just made a mistake that any woman could make. Can't you forgive me? Don't talk nonsense, okay? I don't have that kind of hobby. You act like a whore and then treat it as if it's perfectly normal. You've got some nerve. Xiao Lulu remarked in exasperation. She had seen plenty of the world, but she had never encountered someone as shameless as Su Qing. Let's not see each other anymore. I'm afraid Lulu might misunderstand. Honey, stop messing around, please. She doesn't truly love you. She's only after your money. I've already aborted Wang Hao's child. We can have one of our own. Let's remarry, okay? Su Qing clung to Chen Feng, her entire demeanor pleading as if she were on the verge of madness. Chen Feng hadn't expected that Su Qing would go so far as to abort the child just for money. If Wang Hao found out, he'd be livid. She's after money, and aren't you the same? If I were a penniless wretch, would you even give me a second glance? Chen Feng laughed coldly. Since it's all the same, why shouldn't I pick someone better? Look at yourself. How can you compare to Lulu? Exactly, older sister. Don't you look in the mirror before daydreaming. Xiao Lulu said lightly, a trace of disdain and contempt curling at the corner of her mouth. Comparing herself to Su Qing felt like an insult. Chen Feng, I aborted the child for you. What more do you? Su Qing screamed hysterically, her gaze growing increasingly venomous. You're insane. I never asked you to do that. Don't come to my house again. Chen Feng shoved Su Qing aside and led Xiao Lulu into the villa. Watching their retreating figures, Su Qing clenched her fists, her whole body trembling with rage. Chen Feng, I gave you a chance, and you didn't take it. Don't blame me for being ruthless. After muttering this darkly, Su Qing immediately pulled out her phone and called Wang Hao. I have a task for you, find a way to kidnap Chen Feng. There was hesitation on the other end of the line before a reply finally came. This is tricky. Chen Feng has some connection with Boss Hu. How useless can you be? I'm not asking you to confront him, Heaton. Just find someone to ambush him, can't you? Wang Hao fell silent again. It sounded simple, but in reality, it was extremely difficult. Chen Feng was a skilled fighter, and kidnapping was illegal. Do you have any ambition at all? We're talking about hundreds of millions. Don't you want that? Su Qing scolded furiously, her tone dripping with frustration over his lack of spine. She couldn't fathom why she had ever fallen for such a worthless man like Wang Hao. Fine, he'll get ready right away. Though fear lingered in his heart, Wang Hao's hesitation vanished at Su Qing's words. Xiao Lulu, guided by Chen Feng, began touring the villa. As she took in the decor, her astonishment grew. This villa was far more luxurious than Lin Feier's neighboring Villa No. 4. Having seen the world herself, she could tell that every piece of furniture here was a luxury item. With such lavish decoration, how much did it cost? Xiao Lulu clung to Chen Feng's arm, never letting go, as if trying to meld into him. Not much, just Chen Feng said with a smile, while Xiao Lulu's eyes widened and her breathing grew rapid. Spending 100 million on the house and 300 million on decoration. How insanely wealthy. Win him over. I must win him over. A voice echoed relentlessly in Xiao Lulu's mind. Mr. Chen, is the air conditioning off in here? Why do I feel so hot? Hot. Chen Feng looked around in confusion. It was summer, scorching hot outside, but his place was equipped with ample insulation and air conditioning. There was no way it should be hot. Damn it, could Gao Mingyuan have cut corners? Just as he was wondering, he noticed Xiao Lulu's strap had slipped off her shoulder, revealing the spectacular view of her chest without any pretense. He instantly understood what was happening. So it seems luxury homes and luxury cars are alike. Their cooling systems just aren't up to par. Chen Feng smiled knowingly, wrapped his arm around Xiao Lulu's slender waist, and headed toward the bedroom. Although Xiao Lulu paled in comparison to Lin Feier, and even fell short of Li Bingyao, she was remarkable. Chen Feng found himself at a loss as she pressed against him the moment he entered the room. The few clothes she wore had somehow slipped to the floor. Chen Feng gazed at her, and it was impossible for him to be devoid of thoughts. He was a normal man after all, complete with all the usual desires. Yet just as he was about to embrace Xiao Lulu and take control, she deftly pressed her index finger against his lip. Mr. Chen, there's something I'd like to ask of you. Would that be all right? It must be said Xiao Lulu was indeed adept at manipulation. At such a critical moment, it would be hard for anyone to refuse even 10 requests, let alone one. Coupled with her dazed eyes and intoxicating breath, who could bear to say no? Chen Feng, however, recovered instantly, a cold sneer forming in his heart. Playing games with me. I've lived 2 lives. Do you think you can outmaneuver me? If it's too difficult, I'm afraid I can't help you. It's not hard at all. It's a mere word from you, Mr. Chen. Xiao Lulu sat on Chen Feng's lap, her arms wrapped around his shoulders. A while back, because I spoke up for you, my good friend Lin Feier became quite displeased with me. I really can't bear to stay at her place any longer. Could I move in with you? As she spoke, Xiao Lulu put on a pitiful expression. Chen Feng saw through her ploy at a glance. She wanted to move in, yet she made it sound so noble. He didn't believe Lin Feier would do such a thing. I'm used to living alone. Oh, I'm not comfortable with outsiders. Chen Feng shook his head firmly. There was no way he would let someone like Xiao Lulu into this safe house. She was even more fickle than Su Qing. The moment the scales of interest tipped, even slightly, she would be the first to betray him. Besides, even if the apocalypse never came, her appetite was terrifyingly large. Did she think a single night could make her the mistress of a mansion? Was that possible? If you don't want to stay at Lin Feier's, I can rent a place for you. Xiao Lulu was visibly taken aback by his word. Clearly she hadn't expected Chen Feng to reject her. Was her charm insufficient? Impossible. Those directors could never stay calm around her. After a brief moment of surprise, Xiao Lulu didn't hesitate. She pressed herself against Chen Feng, her gaze seductive. Chen Feng, don't you want me to stay by your side, always? Chen Feng shook his head. Everything in the world has its price, but Xiao Lulu clearly wasn't worth it. I mean, I'll be yours exclusively. You can do whatever you want with me. This time Chen Feng didn't hesitate. He pushed Xiao Lulu away. I can give you an additional 100,000 each month. If you're willing, we can continue. If not, I won't force you. Even though Xiao Lulu was completely exposed, Chen Feng's heart remained utterly calm. When the apocalypse came, a single loaf of bread would make people do anything. He was in no rush. There would come a time when Xiao Lulu would beg him. 100,000. Xiao Lulu's expression soured. Chen Feng had casually given away 1,000,000 in red packets in the owner's group, yet he was only offering her 100,000 a month. What was this? Was he treating her like cheap goods? Though displeased, Xiao Lulu dared not show it. She rose slowly, picked up her clothes from the floor, and deliberately bent over in a provocative pose as she dressed in front of Chen Feng. Chen Feng, if you miss me, be sure to call me. She threw him a flirtatious glance, unwilling to let go of such a big catch, but also refusing to be devalued. Only after Xiao Lulu had left the villa did Chen Feng rush to take a cold shower. Feeling somewhat calmer, he called Li Bingyao. Tonight he needed a proper battle. Just then his phone rang with an alarm. It was the villa's security system. Anyone approaching would be tracked, and if they lingered too long, Chen Feng would be alerted. Chen Feng pulled out his phone to check the surveillance footage. There on the screen were old Madame Zhou and her grandson skulking around outside the villa, surveying the situation. Ever since Chen Feng had rebuffed her, she had been trying to find fault with him. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find a single issue. His renovation had been silent, and even the cleanliness was impeccable. Today she found it even more frustrating. All the workers had left. He had truly finished the renovation in just 10 days, leaving her no opportunity to cause trouble. Grandma, Luo Xiaolong tugged at his pants, desperate to relieve himself. Fine, go over by the wall. Old Madame Zhou sneered, dragging him toward the wall. That old hag is shameless. Chen Feng was furious. He activated the gate's electric current and shouted through the speaker. Old Madame Zhou, are you going to control your brat? He's peeing on my wall. Startled by the sudden voice, old Madame Zhou looked up to see Chen Feng on the second-floor balcony. She sneered dismissively. My Xiaolong is just a child, how can I control him? Besides, you're in your 20s. Why argue with a kid? Can't you be more magnanimous? Seeing her unreasonable attitude, Chen Feng laughed coldly. Pissing by my wall is fine, but I suggest you don't do it on my gate, or I won't be polite. This only provoked old Madame Zhou. She immediately told her grandson, Xiaolong, that man wouldn't give you lobster last time. Go pee on his gate and see what he can do. Xiaolong hopped over to the gate, pulled down his pants, and urinated like a fountain. See if you dare withhold my lobster again. Next time he'll take a dump here. Before he could finish, his body convulsed violently, and he collapsed to the ground, twitching uncontrollably. He was still peeing as he fell, wailing in agony. Wah! Grandma, the gate is so tingly. Something bit my little bird. Chen Feng, you bastard. How dare you harm my grandson? Just wait until my son gets back. You're dead. Old Madame Zhou, venom in her eyes, pulled out her phone, dialing as she roared. Luo Xiaolong writhed on the ground, wailing in agony, even as his little Didi kept involuntarily releasing urine. He simply couldn't control it. The shock had practically caused him to lose bladder control. Yet Chen Feng remained utterly indifferent. That old woman Zhou and her entire family were no good. That child was a typical brat, and getting shocked served him right. I told you not to let him pee on my doorstep, but you old fool just wouldn't listen. How can you be so inhuman, dragging your own grandson into this just to get back at me? Chen Feng said with a chuckle as he brought out a stool and placed it on the balcony, watching the scene unfold like a spectator. He relished seeing that old woman furious, yet utterly powerless against him. The villa's courtyard gate and the surrounding walls were all fitted with electric wires, the voltage of which Chen Feng could adjust at will. He had only set it to a low voltage just now. It was enough to cause excruciating pain throughout the body, but posed no threat to life. Chen Feng, you heartless bastard, I'll fight you to the death. Old Mrs. Zhou's face twisted in fury as she raised her fist to pound on the gate. The next moment her legs gave way and she collapsed to the ground. Not only was she frothing at the mouth, but her entire body convulsed uncontrollably as she kept cursing, You son of a bitch, just you wait. Many neighbors witnessing this were secretly delighted. The entire neighborhood held no fondness for old Mrs. Zhou's family. Even seeing her fall to the ground, no one came to her aid. A rogue deserves a rogue's match, as she's finally met her match. What rogue? Mr. Chen is our neighborhood's great benefactor. The crowd was excited, yet couldn't help worrying. After all, old Mrs. Zhou's son Luo Zhongyuan was a thug, a very troublesome character. Could Chen Feng handle him? Before long, a burly man with a fierce expression came rushing over frantically. Seeing his son and mother lying on the ground, he instantly became consumed with rage. You bastard, get the hell out here. They'll cripple you today. Luo Zhongyuan had always been hot-tempered. Facing this situation, there was no way he could remain calm. So what if Chen Feng was rich? Once he came here, he would have to bow down. But Qin Yin, who had hurried over frantically, tried to pull Luo Zhongyuan back, urging him not to act rashly. Maybe it's all just a misunderstanding, Qin Yin said nervously. If things escalated, who knew what chaos would ensue? More importantly, even without looking, she knew this was probably her mother-in-law's fault. Get the hell away from me. Luo Zhongyuan shoved Qin Yin aside, his face twisted with fury. A misunderstanding. My mother and son are both lying on the ground, and you're still siding with an outsider. Are you out of your mind? Chen Yin stood to the side, bewildered by the scolding, feeling utterly wronged. Chen Feng watched this scene and shook his head repeatedly. In his past life, he had never had a good impression of old Mrs. Zhou's family, but he felt deep pity for this woman Luo Yan. She was a strikingly beautiful woman, one of the most attractive in the neighborhood, the object of countless male residents' desires. If Lin Feier represented youthfulness and aloofness, then Chen Yin was the epitome of maturity and boundless charm. Her graceful, alluring figure and her incredibly beautiful face were enough to drive men wild. But unfortunately, she had fallen in with the wrong people. After the apocalypse struck, Luo Zhongyuan gathered a gang and became the notorious leader of the neighborhood. To win over his men, he offered his own wife up for them to do as they pleased. But unfortunately, she had fallen in with the wrong people. After the apocalypse struck, Luo Zhongyuan gathered a gang and became the notorious. I think you should listen to your wife, or you'll be the one to suffer later. Chen Feng said slowly. Bullshit. Get your ass down here, or it'll fucking cripple you. Luo Zhongyuan picked up a stone and pounded furiously on the gate. Unfortunately, the gate was forged from titanium alloy and remained completely unscathed. Just you wait. I'm not letting you off today. Seeing that he couldn't break the door down, Luo Zhongyuan directly called a few of his henchmen. Though there were security guards in the neighborhood, none dared to intervene. Luo Zhongyuan's fearsome reputation, son, you have to deal with him. Xiaolong's little Didi was almost fried. We nearly lost the family line. Old Mrs. Zhou wailed incessantly, while Luo Zhongyuan's face darkened. He was determined to deal with Chen Feng today. Kid, if you're a man, come down here and face me instead of hiding like a coward. Chen Feng watched the group below without hesitation and immediately called Master Hu. By now, Chen Feng was Master Hu's prized asset. The moment he heard someone was causing trouble for Chen Feng, Master Hu came rushing over without a second thought. Who the hell dares to mess with my brother? The moment Master Hu appeared, Luo Zhongyuan immediately cowered, forcing a flattering smile as he hurried over. Master Hu was a genuine figure in the underworld, while Luo Zhongyuan was nothing more than a small-time thug. The gap between them was vast. Master Hu, this scum attacked my mother and son. I slap. Before he could finish, Master Hu slapped him across the face. If Chen Feng went after your family, they had it coming. If you don't want the same treatment, get lost right now. Master Hu's dominance was absolute. Though Luo Zhongyuan was seething with resentment, he had no choice but to swallow his pride. Fine, since he's a friend of Master Hu, will let it slide. Son, what are you saying? That bastard has bullied us to this extent, and you're letting him go. Old Mrs. Zhou couldn't believe it and protested indignantly. Mom, just shut up. We're leaving. Causing trouble and thinking you can leave without an apology. Luo Zhongyuan trembled. Despite his immense reluctance, he bowed his head and apologized to Chen Feng, who had now approached. Mr. Chen, I'm sorry. Today was all my fault. Make sure you keep your family in line from now on. Next time it won't be so easy. Chen Feng said expressionlessly. Yes, of course. This will never happen again. With that, Luo Zhongyuan led his family away in disgrace. Only after returning home did old Mrs. Zhou speak out in frustration. Are we just going to let this go? With Master Hu backing him, it's troublesome to deal with him. Call the police. We'll call the police. No matter how powerful Master Hu is, he can't interfere with law enforcement. We're in the right here. Luo Zhongyuan shook his head grimly. Don't call the police. I have a way to deal with that bastard. Even if Master Hu helps him, Master Hu can't guard him forever. He'll get what's coming to him. As for the schemes of old Madame Zhou's family, Chen Feng knew they wouldn't let the matter rest, but he paid them no mind. The apocalypse was about to descend, and he couldn't be bothered to seek them out. If they truly came looking for trouble, he would simply annihilate them. After all, his trip to the States had netted him no small amount of weaponry, enough to reduce their entire family to ashes. Chen Feng sat on the balcony, gazing at the scorching sun outside. Who could have guessed that before long the entire world would be shrouded in ice and snow? Today's the day Tiger takes over the house. The Su family's retribution is almost here. Chen Feng muttered as he headed to the underground garage, ready to stock up on supplies. Time was running out, so he would grab whatever he could. As for the Su family, he couldn't be bothered. But just as he reached the garage, a figure rushed at him from behind, pressing a dagger to his throat. Stay put, or not even the gods themselves can save you. Chen Feng recognized the voice instantly. Wang Hao, if you're coming for me, you should have brought more men. He could sense only Wang Hao and two others nearby. Wang Hao's hand was still broken, wrapped in a cast. And this fool still dared to provoke him. Wasn't he asking for trouble? How think you're so tough? In this situation, you're still blustering. You'll get what's coming to you. Wang Hao's voice was dark and menacing. With the blade already at Chen Feng's throat, he didn't believe the man. Don't think Tiger's backing can save you now. No one can. Save me. Chen Feng chuckled lightly. I never needed saving. Do you three pathetic wretches really think you can threaten me? Damn it, this bastard's too cocky. Get on with it, cripple him. Don't kill him. I still have use for him. Wang Hao gave the order, and the two men moved to teach Chen Feng a lesson. But as they prepared to strike, they found their hands frozen in place. The dagger at Chen Feng's throat couldn't advance another inch. What's happening? The man's face twisted in terror, disbelief flooding his eyes. Then Chen Feng's fist came crashing down. In mere moments, the area was filled with their cries. Chen Feng, brother, I was wrong. Spare me. In mere moments, the area was filled with their cries. Chen Feng, brother, I was wrong. Spare me. Wang Hao, seeing Chen Feng approach, didn't dare resist and fell to his knees. Weren't you just acting tough? Now you're begging for mercy. Chen Feng sneered. I didn't know your strength. I was blind. Please be magnanimous and let me go. Chen Feng kicked Wang Hao, sending him tumbling several times before he stopped. Get lost. Wang Hao scrambled away in panic. After he left, Chen Feng pulled out his phone and called Tiger. Let him off. Not a chance. Tiger, when you take the house today, bring someone with a taste for men. I need you to give a friend of mine some special treatment. Chen Feng, that's not right. Using force is illegal. Tiger hesitated, reluctant to court legal trouble. Tiger, come on. A man forcing himself on another man. At worst, it's a slap on the wrist. Look, he'll transfer you 500,000. Don't let your brother down. Tiger didn't hesitate any longer. He hung up, found a suitable man, and began issuing orders. At the Su residence, Su Qing stared at the battered Wang Hao, her face dark. Useless. You can't even handle Chen Feng. What good are you to me? Wang Hao looked pitiful while Su Dahua and the others seethed with resentment. It was Wang Hao who had driven Chen Feng and Su Qing apart, and now they couldn't reclaim the villa or the tens of millions in cash. Mom, what do we do? If we can't get the money back, I can't get married. Su Jiqiang lamented. Don't tell Zhao Qian about the money yet. Just keep her steady and get married first. Su Dahua spat. As the family debated, the door was kicked open. What are you doing? I'm warning you, don't. What are we doing? We're here to take the house. Tiger waved his hand, and a group of men stormed in. The owner has sold this house to me. Are you leaving on your own, or do we throw you out? Stop. Let go of me. This is illegal. Get out. This is our house. Don't go too far. Matsulan tried to throw a tantrum, but Tiger's men were no pushovers. A slap across her face left her stunned. You bastard, he'll kill you. Su Dahua roared, running for a kitchen knife, but he was grabbed and tossed outside. What's the meaning of this? We have no quarrel, do we? Su Qing frowned. Tiger's appearance told her Chen Feng was behind it. Did Chen Feng send you? That's right. He's mortgaged the house to me. Now get out. Nonsense. This house is ours. He left with nothing. It has nothing to do with him. I don't care about that. I only recognize the deed. Throw them out. The thugs didn't give them a chance to resist. After evicting them, they dragged Wang Hao inside. Tiger, what are you doing? Wang Hao shivered as a burly man approached him with a lecherous grin. He had a terrible feeling. He's yours. Don't cause too much trouble. The burly man nodded eagerly, stroking Wang Hao's arm with undisguised anticipation. Don't worry, you'll be gentle. Soon Wang Hao's agonized screams filled the room. The Su family, who had been about to storm in and argue, fled in terror. Tiger was ruthless, not someone they could mess with. Call the police. Hurry, Matsuelon shouted. Their house had been taken, and though the thugs were arrogant, they were in the right. But when the authorities arrived and reviewed the situation, they simply shook their heads. You should file a lawsuit. He has a contract. The problem lies in the property division after your divorce with Chen Feng. A lawsuit will definitely get the house back. Hearing this, the Su family breathed a sigh of relief. Sue him. We must sue him. What Chen Feng did is illegal. They'll make him beg on his knees. Su Qing, burning with rage, pulled out her phone to contact a lawyer. After contacting the lawyer, Su Qing rented an apartment in the Yudai Longting residential complex to stay. They had to keep an eye on their own house and also watch over Chen Feng. Casually mortgaging someone else's property like that, causing so much trouble, would have legal consequences. The only way to avoid being held accountable was to get the other party to forgive him. When that time came, if he didn't cough up the money, he could forget about it. Meanwhile, Chen Feng, after receiving the video from brother, who couldn't stop laughing. Even through the video, he could feel Wang Hao's despair at that moment. You're still far from being able to compete with me, and this is just the beginning. Su Qing also sent a message saying he was doomed, that she had already found a lawyer and a court summons would be on it. Chen Feng couldn't care less. The end of the world was coming soon. He had no time to bother with these trivial matters. After attending countless more banquets, the Thunder Modification Shop called to say that the down jackets and thermal silk quilts he had ordered had arrived. These were items he had ordered earlier. Down jackets that could keep someone warm even in Antarctica, and silk quilts that were extremely effective at retaining heat. Although his safe house had excellent insulation, he still had to go out sometimes. Without warm clothing, he would freeze into an icicle in no time. Why isn't Bingyao delivering this? Arriving at the warehouse, Chen Feng saw a man delivering the goods and couldn't help asking curiously. After all, Li Bingyao was the one who usually coordinated with him. Li Bingyao called in sick with a fever today, so I'm making the delivery. Mr. Chen, please check if anything is missing. I see. Chen Feng nodded and signed the receipt. Since Li Bingyao was in charge of these items, he felt quite. Besides, he had a large stash of thermal down jackets from the US in his space, so he was hardly lacking. After seeing the staff off, he happened to run into Zhao Qian and Su Jiqiang walking over chatting and laughing. Oh, isn't this Chen Feng? It's scorching hot out and you're hauling all these down jackets. Have you lost your... Su Jiqiang sneered at Chen Feng. As for Zhao Qian beside him, she didn't even spare Chen Feng a glance. In her eyes, he was nothing but a pauper now. What, kicked out of your place and still putting on airs? At Chen Feng, don't think you can get away with hiring those thugs to mess with us. What you've done will cost you dearly. We've already hired a lawyer. Hearing this, Chen Feng's smile only grew wider as he turned his gaze to Zhao Qian. The Su family won't get a single cent from me. They're even renting a place now. You'll gain nothing by sticking with him. Come with me, and he'll give you 20,000 a month. Shameless. Zhao Qian snorted, lifting her chin in disdain. Who wants your filthy money? With that, she grabbed Su Jiqiang's arm and swayed away. Well, see about that, Chen Feng. Not far away, Xiao Lulu watched the scene, unsure whether to be pleased or annoyed. It seemed that in Chen Feng's eyes, everyone had a price. He was a lecher, but he never acted on impulse. I don't believe I can't win you over with my charm. Xiao Lulu was very confident. Her failure to seduce Chen Feng last time was just an accident. Next time, he wouldn't be able to resist. Returning to Lin Feier's place, she was shocked by the scene before her. The room was piled high with food. Instant noodles, meat, fruits, and vegetables. A massive freezer was completely stuffed. Feier, what are you doing? Xiao Lulu asked, her mouth agape and It's all that jerk's fault. Lin Feier fumed at the thought. Chen Feng had been ordering all the takeout and booking all the banquets lately, leaving her unable to order any food. Since she didn't want to go grocery shopping every day, she decided to stock up. I'm off work for the next month, so I'm not going out. If you want something different, go eat out. With that, Lin Feier curled up on the sofa and started binge-watching shows. For her, staying home was the best way to rest when not filming. Xiao Lulu watched with envy. Only someone like Lin Feier, who was both famous and came from a wealthy family, could afford to be so carefree. Unlike herself, who had to chase after directors and rich heirs. No, I have to win Chen Feng over. After taking care of her own affairs, Chen Feng drove to Li Bingio's place. Seeing that she had almost nothing, Chen Feng went to the supermarket and bought a huge amount of food and daily necessities for her. The temperature would plummet tonight, so there was no need to worry about food spoilage. The door wasn't very sturdy, so Chen Feng reinforced it with welding and steel. He had done everything he could. Whether Li Bingyao would survive the apocalypse was up to her. Li Bingyao was deeply touched by Chen Feng's kindness, buying her medicine, stocking her up with supplies, and even giving her warm clothes. She was so moved that she insisted on letting him enjoy the warmth of her body. Ration these supplies and don't trust anyone, understand? Chen Feng advised earnestly. You're acting like the world is ending. I just have a cold. Just remember what I said. If you run into trouble, call me immediately. After giving further instructions, Chen Feng put on his clothes and left. As the last rays of sunset faded from the sky, an unseasonable chill crept into the air. Many people were thrilled. The summer had been unbearably hot, but today it had finally turned cool. Crowds of people strolled and enjoyed the cool breeze in the neighborhood. No one knew that the temperature would soon plummet to -40 degrees. The sunlight would lose all its warmth. As darkness fell, Chen Feng rushed to the library. Since it operated from 9 to 5, the staff had already left. He dug a tunnel straight inside and began hoarding books like crazy. Books were spiritual sustenance that could help pass the long, tedious days. After collecting all the books, Chen Feng headed for the warehouse of a chain pharmacy. He chose the warehouse over a pharmacy because it had fewer people and an astonishing amount of medicine. This was much faster than raiding a drugstore. When Chen Feng emerged from the warehouse, the surrounding temperature had dropped again, reaching 8 degrees. This cliff-like plunge in temperature could only mean one thing. The apocalypse was about to arrive. Yet unfortunately, no one paid heed to this abrupt drop in temperature. To them, it was merely an excuse to go home and fetch an extra layer of clothing. I must hurry or I'll never make it in time. Chen Feng muttered, rushing once more toward the major cold storage facilities. As planned, he had marked several locations. Warehouses at the seafood market and the vegetable depot. These were all his targets. Through his methods, though some chaos had already stirred, it was evident that no one would notice him in such a short span. By tomorrow, no one would care about these matters anyway, for by then the temperature would be so frigid that scarcely anyone would dare to step outside. After he had thoroughly ransacked every warehouse, he made his way to the large shopping mall. At 11:30, most stores were already closed. Compounded by the day's cold snap, even the shops that usually stayed open through the night had shuttered their doors. He wasted no time. JK skirts, Chong Sam silk mini dresses, black stockings, white stockings, every alluring and seductive piece of intimate apparel. He swept them all up without hesitation. It must be said his aesthetic taste far surpassed that of the ugly nation. The Chong Sam alone outshone their offerings by 100,000 miles. By the time Chen Feng had cleared out the entire mall, it was already 11:50. He lingered no longer and sped homeward with breakneck haste. The wind outside had grown bitingly cold, fierce, and relentless, a bone-piercing chill that could easily lay low the unprepared with a cold. When Chen Feng returned to his villa and stood before the window watching the clock's hand strike, 12 snowflakes began to dance and flutter outside. The apocalypse had descended. What kind of devilish weather is this? It was over 30 degrees during the day, and now it's this cold. Su Dahua wrapped himself in a quilt, trembling all over. When their family had been driven out, they had brought nothing with them. On top of that, since it was summer after renting their place, they had only bought light bedding for the season. This sudden cold snap left them shivering uncontrollably. Even as Su Dahua clung desperately to his wife, they were still frozen stiff. Su Dahua and Su Jiqiang were faring slightly better. They could embrace their women and huddle for warmth, still cold, but barely enduring. Su Qing, however, had it the worst. At first, to avoid impropriety, she stayed alone in her room. But even after tearing down the curtains to wrap herself, it was futile. She had to sneak into Wang Hao's room and squeeze in beside him. Yet even so, the family remained frozen to the bone. Eventually, they all gathered in one room, using hot water from the heater to barely stave off the chill. "I can't take this anymore. I'm going back. Your place is way too cold," Zhao Qian complained bitterly. She had come to discuss the betrothal gift, but who could have foreseen such a disaster? The moment she opened the door, however, a blast of frigid air forced her back. The extreme cold nearly made her wet herself. "Qian, just stay put for now. They'll take you home tomorrow." Su Jiqiang hurriedly pulled her back. "What sin have I committed to deserve this?" Su Qing, watching her family shiver like frozen dogs, felt her resentment deepen. Chen Feng, it was all that bastard's fault. If not for him, they wouldn't have been thrown out or be freezing like this. With that thought, she grabbed her phone and sent a message to Chen Feng. "Chen Feng, don't get cocky. The authorities are already handling this. Even if you don't end up in jail, you'll owe us a huge sum." Meanwhile, Chen Feng lounged in a chair by the window, coffee in hand, gazing at the swirling snow. In just a short half hour, the ground outside was blanketed in a pristine white layer. In Qingzhou, it did snow in winter, but never during this season. More importantly, the current temperature had already surpassed the depth of winter. Yet Chen Feng's home was comfortable enough. Thanks to its insulation, the temperature remained at a steady 26 degrees Celsius, the ideal human comfort zone. "Suit yourself. I couldn't care less." Chen Feng sneered in reply to Su Qing's threatening message. To him, all worldly rules had lost their power. Laws, morals, they were all worthless. Let them try to survive first. Don't be so stubborn. When you come begging, I won't let you off easy. If you know what's good for you, let us move into the villa right now. In such freezing weather, how are you still dreaming in broad daylight? Better think about how to get through this long, cold night." Chen Feng replied nonchalantly, then tossed the phone aside, still expecting him to beg her. They'd get what was coming to them. The chance for revenge had finally arrived. If they couldn't even endure this, had be sorely disappointed. The snow fell heavier and heavier. Chen Feng grew tired of staying put. Grabbing his megaphone, he roared, "Ha ha ha. The old order has crumbled. Mortals, prepare to welcome your king." The megaphone's voice boomed, echoing throughout the entire neighborhood. After his outburst, Chen Feng paid no heed to the noise complaint and simply returned to bed. The room was a warm 26 degrees, but he still pulled a silk quilt over himself. Not because he was cold, but because he had never used the heating in this house before and feared a malfunction might leave him frozen. In the Yudai Longting owners group, even at this late hour, the chat was buzzing. "What the hell is going on? This weather is insane. Did you hear that? Someone was shouting in the neighborhood just now. What's that about? Can't a person get some sleep at this hour? I think I heard someone yelling something about welcoming a turtle. Freak. Must have frozen his brain in the middle of the night," someone grumbled as they typed. That was Chen Feng making a racket. "He's got a loudspeaker at his place." Old Lady Zhou was quick to point the finger at Chen Feng, even tagging him directly. "Chen Feng, what are you causing a fuss for? Can't you let people sleep?" Unfortunately, Chen Feng had already switched off his phone, oblivious to the group's commotion. The next morning, he woke up, drenched in sweat, feeling overheated. The house's insulation and heating were flawless, but the silk quilt nearly cooked him silly. Outside, the snow had piled up to a meter, blanketing the world in ice. The temperature had plummeted to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Without a doubt, the apocalypse had arrived on schedule. When he checked his phone, the neighborhood group chat was in utter chaos. At first, some people were still complaining about the noise disturbing the peace. Old Madame Zhou in particular seized the opportunity to relentlessly denounce Chen Feng, as if she wished to defeat him with her words alone. Yet no one came to her aid. After all, many had accepted red envelopes from Chen Feng, and with favors owed, they felt obligated to give him some face. Besides, everyone knew old Madame Zhou was merely finding an excuse to target Chen Feng, so they refrained from intervening. After a torrent of scolding, she realized Chen Feng wasn't responding at all and eventually fell silent again. A one-sided quarrel can hardly be called a fight. Then the conversation shifted to complaints about the freezing weather as the group, unable to sleep from the cold, began venting in the chat. What's going on? How can it snow in the middle of summer? Are you kidding me? Snow in this weather? Have you lost? Holy crap, it's true. The ground is covered in snow. No wonder I'm so cold. Is this the apocalypse? Do I still have to pay my mortgage? Don't talk nonsense. Speaking recklessly could get you in trouble. We need to trust the authorities. Our emergency response is world-class. Reading these messages, Chen Feng shook his head inwardly. These people were still too naive. Their emergency response might indeed be world-class, but that only mattered if there was anything left to save. Problems in one or two places could be managed by mobilizing resources from nearby areas, but when the entire world faced the same catastrophe simultaneously, there was no saving anyone. There was simply no solution. In his past life, these people had remained equally calm, believing rescue would come soon. That very belief cost them their last chance to save themselves. Look, the authorities have issued an emergency notice telling us to stay indoors and not wander around. Many saw the message and breathed a sigh of relief. Shortly after, the authorities announced a work suspension, canceling the next day's shifts. The rapid response filled everyone with a sense of security. But before long, the group's calm shattered, and they began clamoring in the chat again. What the hell is going on with this? I went to pee and it froze into an icicle instantly. Scared the crap out of me. Don't even get me started. My water pipes are frozen solid. I just opened my fridge, and the air coming out felt warm by comparison. The outside temperature had plummeted far below the freezing point of a refrigerator. The extreme cold had cut off the water supply worldwide, as everything had frozen into solid blocks. In this weather, the only option was to bring snow indoors, melt it with the still functioning electricity, and heat it up. But clearly this was extremely dangerous. Spending even a short time outside in such frigid conditions could result in frostbite. Any longer, and death would be inevitable. More importantly, this was only a temporary measure, as the entire world would soon face power outages due to resource shortages. Most regions still relied on hydroelectric power, but with everything frozen solid at these temperatures, there was no water to generate electricity. Only their area with its numerous nuclear plants could provide 1 hour of centralized power daily. That would be the true beginning of the disaster. Holy shit, this is insane. Old Zhang went out to check on things, and after walking just 10 meters, he turned into an ice sculpture. As dawn approached, another message appeared in the chat, filling everyone with grim dread. A death had occurred. This meant the situation had become dire. Soon after, someone else exclaimed in the chat, 2 more people have frozen into ice sculptures in the snow. Don't go outside anymore. It's too cold out there, and you'll freeze to death. Chen Feng walked to the window, and through the glass, saw 3 ice sculptures standing in the central area. They stood one behind the other in the snow, showing no signs of struggle. They had likely been frozen solid the moment they sensed something was wrong, without even a chance to regret it. The heavy snow had already buried half their bodies. They underestimated the power of nature. Logically, minus 40 degrees shouldn't have killed them instantly, but the drastic temperature shift from a relatively warm place to extreme cold could cause severe bodily harm. Chen Feng put down his phone, wearing only a vest, as he began brewing coffee and preparing breakfast. Meanwhile, Su Qing's family had all huddled together, shivering from the cold. Zhao Qian had cried until no tears were left, as she had never endured such hardship in her life. She never imagined she would one day be driven to despair by extreme cold. She had planned to return to her own place this morning, but after last night's fatal incident, she dared not step outside. In breaking up with him, I must break up with this good for nothing. Zhao Qian had made up her mind. This family had utterly disappointed her. Not only did they lack proper winter gear in such freezing weather, but they had only given her some curtains to wrap herself in. In truth, all the curtains in the house had been taken down, and she had more than anyone else. Because of Su Jiqiang's efforts, she even had an extra layer. Wang Hao was holding Su Qing close, his heart filled with resentment. Every time he thought about how Chen Feng had cost him even his dignity, his hatred became impossible to hide. Chen Feng, one day, he'll destroy you. Quick. I borrowed some clothes and blankets from the neighbors. Put them on. Su Dahua and his wife walked in carrying some quilts and clothes. They had managed to borrow these after asking 5 or 6 households. Though the disaster had struck abruptly, most homes still had such supplies. Only their family was unfortunate enough to have been driven out by boss who right when the calamity began. All of this was that bastard Chen Feng's fault. These are so thin. How am I supposed to wear them? They're not even stylish, and they're not warm at all. Zhao Qian couldn't help but sneer in disdain as she looked at the clothes Su Dahua brought. Qian, just make do with these. It's already good that we could borrow anything at all. Su Jiqiang quickly tried to console her, draping the clothes over her shoulders. I don't care. I want a down jacket. Zhao Qian kicked out in dissatisfaction, and the faces of Su Dahua and the others darkened. They had already given her their thickest clothes, yet she was still unhappy. However, out of consideration for Su Jiqiang, they held their tongues. Qian, where would we get a down jacket? Zhao Qian's eyes suddenly lit up, and she urged, go to Chen Feng. He bought several truckloads of down jackets and silk quilts yesterday.